The world is mine, will this get back? You talked all that smack, so you got clapped. Your Ayatollah's gone, I'm the motherfucking Dawn. Big fish in a small pond. Now these pups squat up on my hook as I cook, cause I took the straight down and shook. Dummies hold their breath, they wanted this be making the crispy. Fry 'em up like Papas from the Mississippi. Leader unseen, just a lip dick dancing queen. We see you women, talk it up, Noah cover it up. Bow down before your bridges all fall. The 7 special forces running up on the all fucking bees. We on the seas, and the Chinese on their knees, begging Trump please. Before any motherfuckers act hard, will you rewind my part, fool? And bow down. When I come to your town, bow down. When I'm Persian bound, bow down. Oh, I drop a cradle or two, bow down to the dog who's greater than you.
Oh, it's pretty cool, right? Pretty good. Sorry, pretty cool. Hit the wrong thing there. Pretty cool little video. I thought that was really nice. There's a couple other ones I was going to play, but I don't know. Let's see what it is. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Friday night. Sorry about last night. There was a miscommunication on my part, I guess. I thought I was going to stream with Joe, and then I found out I wasn't, like at like 10:30. So it's not a big deal. I would have streamed earlier at 7 if I would have known, but it is what it is. But I want to thank everybody who's here tonight because we got some news to talk about tonight. We got a whole bunch of news. We also have the goal to talk about because the show is going to be about 2 hours, 2.5 hours long tonight, unless we hit the goal. The way the goal works is if we get once we hit $100 in total donations across all platforms, super chats, Rumble rants, Cash App, PayPal, Ko-fi, whatever you want to call it, super tips, also Kick and Twitch memberships, and also gifting memberships or becoming members on YouTube or Rumble and Locals Coins. We add it all up when we hit $100. We add an extra hour to the show. And then for each additional $100 that comes in, we add another additional hour to the show. So the show could be, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, or it could be, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. It could be as long as you guys, the viewers, want. If you guys say, oh, we had too much Jim, we don't want any more Jim, Jim's too much, then, it's just 2 hours. But it is what it is, and that's what it is. And that's how it works. And as an added bonus, what I like to do is when we hit $50 in total donations, I activate the Bella Vision for the evening when we hit 50. And there's Bella. She's just chilling tonight. She's well rested, it seems. Like, I don't know if she just decided that she's, doesn't really want to play tonight or what the deal is. But there's Bella. And so, yeah, when we hit 50, we activate Bella Vision, unless somebody is so generous that they donate $25, an individual donation of $25 or greater, which could be like a Cash App or a PayPal. It could be a Super Tips. It could be any of them things. It also could be like 5 gifted memberships on YouTube or Rumble would automatically qualify for Bella Vision for the evening. Yes. All right. Let me do this. And let's get into the first news story of the evening. What do you guys say, huh? So the Supreme Court sides with Chevron and oil companies in the Louisiana environmental lawsuits. You guys didn't know about that, did you? Supreme Court on Friday made it easier for companies to move lawsuits from state to federal court when their conduct is tied to federal work, siding with Chevron and other oil companies in a long-running dispute with Louisiana parishes over coastal erosion linked to decades of drilling activity in the state. Hey, Muffin Rando, great to see you guys. I didn't even go through the chat, see who's everybody's here. Jay Schwartz is here, Catherine K's here, Jody, Tom Bravo. Yeah, Ira Backyard Cams, have a great night. Did Joe Logic make the goal for Saturday? I don't know. I ended up going on another show last night. Off Label, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. Oh my God, look at this. Okay, Jim, I'm here listening, so tell me. Well, thank you. Thank you for that $25. That automatically activates Bella Vision for the evening. So now you guys are stuck looking at Bella all night long. Thanks to John McGarvey. Thank you. And that also means that we are only $75 away from hitting our first goal for the first additional hour of the show. Thank you so much, John McGarvey. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm very particular. I don't like getting people's names wrong. So if I'm saying it wrong, just correct me and I'll fix it because that's how I roll. Thank you again so much for the very generous donation. Hey, Lurch Linger, great to see you too, buddy. So the court ruled 8-0 with Samuel Alito not participating because Samuel Alito owns some stock in some companies. So he's like, hey, I can't really participate in this. I'm going to have to sit this one out, I guess, is the way they looked at it. I don't know, And they said that Chevron met the legal standard to move the case from state to federal court because the challenge conduct bears a meaningful connection to its work for the federal government. Did I already read that? The ruling, which centers on lawsuits filed against Chevron by the Plaquemines and Cameron parishes, stands to impact dozens of similar lawsuits filed in the state since 2013, which seeks billions of dollars in damages for Chevron and other oil companies accused of violating Louisiana State and local Coastal Resources Management Act. The Louisiana jury last April determined that Chevron to be liable for more than $744 million in damages to the Plaquemines Parish, underscoring a high dollar nature of many of the lawsuits. The pronunciation was perfect. Well, thank you. I'm sure the other judges did as well. Yeah, well, I'm sure some other judges own stock in oil companies because who doesn't? But I don't know. Seems ridiculous to me that he would have had to recuse himself, but he did. The lawsuits have accused Chevron and other oil and gas companies of failing to adhere to provisions of the state law that require them to clean, detoxify, and restore their drilling sites in violations of state and local Coastal Resources Management Act law. Chevron, backed by the Trump administration, had argued to the high court that the lawsuits belong in federal court because its oil production in the state was tied in part to its wartime role refining crude into aviation fuel for the U.S. military. The high court agreed, writing for the majority, Justice Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas, throwing down, said Congress has long allowed federal contractors and others acting under federal authority to shift cases into federal court when the claims relate to their work. Chevron case fits comfortably within the ordinary meaning of the suit relating to the performance of federal duties. So I wonder, is this going to be the new Chevron case? Because you guys remember Chevron deference? That was a case that all the time was saying you had to do this stuff, and the government had the government, Chevron deference, you have to give deference to the agencies. And they finally got rid of that, overruled Chevron. So now they have a new Chevron case, which says oil companies can remove their stuff to federal court. The high court's ruling lowers the bar for companies to shift cases from state to federal court, which defendants often view as more favorable venue, as long as the claims are not too remote and bear a meaningful connection to federal work, and so long as the connection to federal activity is not tenuous, remote, or peripheral. The Supreme Court vacated an earlier ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, which sided with the lower court in ruling that the matter belonged in the state court and kicked it back down to the lower court for review. The outcome marks a significant procedural win for Chevron. It also stands to have broader knockdown effects for other oil and gas majors facing similar environmental and climate-related lawsuits from these crazy green obsessed states. Yes, let's see here. And then just Newsmax has it real quick, says, Supreme Court gives oil companies win. What is this? I'm not going to watch that ad. The Supreme Court handed a win Friday to oil and gas companies. 8-0 procedural decision gives the companies a new day in federal court. Backed by the Trump administration, we saw that. Coastal Paris has lost more than 2,000 square miles of land over the past century. So what? They're blaming the oil companies for a swamp getting swampier? That doesn't make any sense. The state could lose an additional 3,000 square miles. Now, are they counting the land that they lost when their dikes and stuff? I mean, Louisiana has got dikes and levees and all the stuff to keep the seawater out. So it doesn't seem like this really makes a lot of sense to me. It doesn't really. Hey, Big Harry's here. What's up? What's going on? What's happening? What's new, dude? We're talking about some cases real quick. Governor Landry backed to lawsuits when he was Attorney General, even though he's a longtime oil and gas industry supporter. Attorneys for local Louisiana leaders say the Supreme Court appeal was a stalling tactic. Oh, but it seems like it worked because they won. The companies appealed to the high court after jurors in Plaquemines Parish, a sliver of land straddling the Mississippi River into the Gulf, found that energy giant Texaco, acquired by Chevron in 2001, had for decades violated Louisiana's regulations governing coastal resources by failing to restore wetlands impacted by dredging canals, drilling wells, and billions of gallons of wastewater dumped into the marsh. The case is one of dozens that was filed in 2013 alleging oil giants, including Chevron and Exxon, violated state environmental laws for decades. The companies asked the justices to overturn a 2024 decision from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit that allowed the suit to stay in state court. Justice Alito recused himself, saying he has financial ties to ConocoPhillips. He previously recused himself from other cases due to his stock holdings. I mean, it seems like the only one that's actually doing what they're supposed to do is Alito, because there's a whole bunch of cases coming up that really, really should cause like people like Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the one that doesn't know what a woman is, to recuse herself because she's already come out and weighed in on some of these cases, like publicly talked about cases. So to me, she should have to recuse herself on some cases. But we'll see what happens. All right. And then the same thing from the AP, but we already read two, so we're not going to read, just says Supreme Court hands a win to oil and gas companies fighting environmental lawsuits in state court. All right, let's go to story number 2. Iran caves, declares Strait of Hormuz completely open for all commercial ships. Trump responds. Peace between Iran and the United States has seemingly taken a step forward as Iran has moved to reopen traffic on the Strait of Hormuz. As the Gateway Pundit reported, Iran last week declared tanker traffic in the strait was suspended after Israel continued hammering Hezbollah following the U.S.-Iran ceasefire agreement. President Trump responded by ordering the U.S. Navy to immediately begin a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical oil choke points in the world. The move has significantly damaged Iran's already struggling economy. Then, with the encouragement of Trump, Israel and Lebanon negotiated a 10-day ceasefire to stop the bloodshed. Trump's savvy moves appear to have worked because Iran has now declared that the strait is completely reopened for the remainder of the ceasefire. In line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage of all commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of ceasefire on a coordinated route, as already announced by Ports and Maritime Organization of the Islamic Republic of Iran, said Minister Sayed Abbas Adagachi on X. As a result of Iran's announcement, oil prices are already plummeting. That's right. They dropped almost 12% today. 12% oil. Yeah, oil is right now at $84 a barrel right now. $84 a barrel. Wow. It got all the way below 80. It got down at intraday. It got down to $79.30. $79.30. So we should start seeing some pretty good gas prices should start dropping here in the U.S. Oh, wow, look at that. 85.61 it says there, but that must have been when it closed or in the morning. Dropped down, but like I said, it was all the way down below 80 for a while. Trump responded in all caps on Truth Social. He celebrated the news, but warned that the naval blockade will remain in full force. The Strait of Hormuz is completely open and ready for business and full passage, but the naval blockade will remain in full force and effect as it pertains to Iran only until such time as our transaction with Iran is 100% complete. The process should go very quickly, and most of the points are already negotiated. And thank you for your attention to this matter. Iran announced the straits fully open during the ceasefire. We saw that. Right? And then we got this as a result. The Dow surges over 800 points and oil drops over 10%. Hey, Tiberius, what's up? Nice to see you. I read. What did I do? Did I miss somebody's? Apparently, top fans thing is a pay to play. That has nothing to do with me. That's a YouTube thing. The top fans on YouTube, and that goes off of like every hour or something. YouTube. That if you make a comment, like you can make like you get like credit for like 3 comments an hour on YouTube. And it gives you like 25 points per comment. And then I don't know how it works, but for every like super chats only, they give you credit for that too, for the top fans thing. So like right now, what does it say? It says, John is a top fan with 1,325 points. Yeah. So that's how that works. But that's not, I have no control over that. That's YouTube. But I read chats whenever as I'm going, I'll see chats that get my attention and I will pay attention to them. Your new house has a basement. It will have a server podcast room. That's awesome. Until gas is under $2 a gallon, he hasn't done enough for me. Well, sorry, I remember gas being $1.20 when I started driving. Well, I remember gas being 79 cents a gallon. So there's that. I remember people freaking out when gas went over $1. People freaked out, literally freaked out.
The markets, and you can see where things are headed here, up 659 points at the open for the Dow Jones Industrials, which have been flat really since the beginning of the year. But this news of the Iranian foreign minister announcing that the Strait of Hormuz is open, basically the back has been broken of this standoff with Iran. So we're glad to have with us Guy Benson, Fox News political analyst and host of the Guy Benson Show on Fox News Radio.
Well, thank you, Lauren. That's great. I do my best. I try to talk to the chat as much as possible. I really enjoy having a conversation with the chat as we go through the stories. I know that's not for some people. Some people would prefer just to handle the show and not stop and have conversations with the chat. But, that's just the way I like to do it. And so that's how it is. And you remember when it was 25 cents a gallon? Wow. I don't remember it being 25 cents a gallon. Like, honestly, I think the lowest I remember gas being when I paid it, like, in my mind, I wasn't driving yet. Okay, I wasn't driving, but I remember seeing gas that said like 72 cents a gallon. So, and that was in Chicago. So, and Pat says, I remember 39 cents a gallon. Wow. Once again, I'm the youngest here. That's what Off Label says. Well, you know. And Joe's like, yeah, you do you. I remember gas was 69 cents when I started driving. Wow. Wow. Yeah, we used to get mad if gas changed 2 cents from day to day. Oh, yeah. People used to get pissed off. Pissed off. But let's just hope, you know, the economy picks up and gets good. That's what we can pray for.
And David Asman, Fox Business anchor. Gentlemen, great to have both of you with us. David, let me start with you. Your reaction to what we're hearing and to the open of the market this morning.
Well, the Iranian got kind of topped out because everybody says that's why the markets are doing well. No, the markets did well when gold went below $90. That's when markets began to do well. It wasn't so much that they got a sense of what the Iranians were going to say about this, but it was just they were looking.
All right, he said gold. He meant oil. If gold was below was below $90, that would be like, what the hell happened? Because gold is almost I think gold's up to 4,000, almost 5,000 an ounce. So he misspoke. He meant oil.
At everything that happened. I mean, we've talked about this. I peeked in right before this hit, and I think that this just shows that Trump won. Trump won, and the Arab nations won. The Arab nations with which we've been united since his first term won as well, because they saw Iran as main enemy. Iran lost. China lost big time. They were losing money. They didn't want to switch to another supplier because they'd have to pay a lot more. The EU lost because they didn't pitch in to help at all with this. And I think Democrats lost, the one who were just totally over the top, saying there's no way this is going to. The blockade was a brilliant move by Donald Trump. That united the United States with China. It united the United States with the EU that didn't have enough jet fuel, for goodness sakes, because of the block.
In the end, you may prove to be right with everything you said. However, the war is not over. Just a couple caveats here. The blockade stays, which means Iran could continue to be starved of financial money, any sort of economic lifeline. The regime is still in power. We don't know the fate of the nuclear dust or the fate or the future of its nuclear program. What we do know is that the ceasefire in Lebanon between Hezbollah and Israel, that was very important to Iran. So that is in effect as of today for the next 9 days and counting, 10 days total. Guy, where do you think we are?
I agree.
You on David's team?
I agree with David that the blockade has been a huge success for the U.S. military and a brilliant stroke by the Trump administration. I also agree that it appears that the Iranians have blinked here in a very significant way. That being said, to echo one of your previous guests, I take everything with a giant chunk of salt from Iran. They say many things, they lie all the time, so it's a trust but verify situation. And just because this seems to have at least been temporarily resolved in a positive way, and the markets love it, obviously, the underlying issues, the demands from the administration remain the same and so far unfulfilled. If the Iranians are serious about putting this to bed permanently and having any chance of the regime surviving, which I hope it does not, but if they want this to go away and maybe come into the normal world, so to speak, they need to completely abandon their nuclear programs, totally. They need to give up what Trump calls the nuclear dust. They have to forswear terrorism, so on and so forth. The demands that the vice president brought to those negotiations in Islamabad were exactly correct, and they don't disappear because of this development. I hope that the pressure has now squeezed them so hard that they're willing to get serious. This seems like a cause for cautious optimism, but I'm still waiting and seeing what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, it's great news for the market. It's great news for the opening up of the oil markets, for transit in the area. You saw this very strong statement from Dubai, also basically saying, we won, we took the hits, because this is the first time we've seen some of these Gulf states, sort of mobilize their own defenses. They were hit. They stood by the United States in this blockade, and I think we do see a very new alliance, or a solidifying of that alliance between the Gulf states and Israel and the United States.
The last thing you said is the most important. Saudi Arabia may use ports in Israel now to move their oil. I mean, how extraordinary is that? Also, the other thing that's very different about this oil shock, the past ones, we were at the mercy of the oil sheikhs. At this time, the whole world is at I don't want to say at the mercy, but is dependent on what the United States does.
Yes.
The U.S. has become the key energy supplier and mover for the whole world.
The only people who are still suffering are the Iranian people,
Yes.
many of whom are still imprisoned, many of whom are online.
Right. We get the point. Economy's going to do a lot better. Stocks surged, oil's prices plunged sharply on Friday with crude for May delivering falling more than 10% after Iran declared the Strait of Hormuz completely open. The oil sell-off came as a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon raised hopes that the disrupted supply could return to market. That could be. And then let's see, I wanted to go right here. Someone said something. Lauren says, Trump's goal is $60 a barrel. It will bankrupt Russia and fall the Berlin Wall 2.0. Actually, it won't bankrupt Russia per se. $60 a barrel is the sweet spot for U.S. producers, where they can still produce and still make a decent amount of money with what we pay, because it costs more money to take oil out of the ground in the U.S. than it does to take it out of the ground in Russia or in. Well, it's Russia's. I shouldn't say that. Russia, some places it's expensive because of just the conditions in the environment. But for Saudi Arabia, gets oil out of the ground for like $15 a barrel is what it costs them to get it, if that. So they're making money. They could make money at $30 a barrel. They'd still be making tons of money. Us in the U.S., when oil prices start to dip low, they start shutting off stuff in the U.S. and go, no, we can't afford it. Did Jim see my comment about Bella needing a snack? I did see your comment, Greg. I pulled it up. I don't know what kind of snack to give her. I don't have anything in here to give her. She's just taking a nap. She just had her dinner, and she had a snack when she came in here. So, yeah. And, hey, what's up, OTR Snakehouse? Smokehouse, great to see you. What's up, Wooden? Great to see you. Rural Arkansas, it's a good place to be broke. That's good. Hey, Jody, what's up? Great to see you. I became a mom in 78, Navy bride, Pensacola. Oh, that's awesome. Stocks soared with the Dow Jones jumping 868 points or 1.8% to 49,447. I want everyone to just think about this for a minute. 50,000 on the Dow. I mean, do you remember, back in the, get Bella some biltong? I actually have biltong. Yes, the puppy has no shortage of snacks. I did get a delivery of biltong today. So if anyone wants to get themselves some biltong, you can head on over to Biltong USA. Enter, www.biltongusa.com and use promo code Jim for 10% off. And I'm going to try it later. It says to chill it. So I got it chilling in the fridge. I figured, we'll give it a taste test live on air maybe tonight. Yes, Bella is watching her waistline. Yeah, she can probably have some biltong. No, I hear it's just pure protein and all natural, made in the USA. Can't go wrong. That's www.biltongusa.com. So the S&P rose. Yeah, Brent crude dropped 9% to settle at 90.38. West Texas declined 11% to 83.85. Wow. Yeah. Wow. You remember when the Dow hit 1,500? Yeah. I mean, my dad used to always tell me that when he was in college, that his economics professors would tell him that the Dow's never going to hit 1,000. It's never going to hit 1,000. And I remember for years, all through the 80s and 90s, it's never going to hit 10,000. It's never going to hit 10,000. And then it did. And it's just keeps going. Just keeps going. It'll be interesting to see how the government shakes out in Iran. There will be no change if any Shia 12ers are involved. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. So the S&P also rose to close above 7,100 for the first time in history, and the NASDAQ gained 1.5% for its 13th consecutive winning day and the longest positive streak since 1992. Wow. Iranian foreign minister said Friday the Strait's now completely open to commercial shipping, a move that immediately calmed global markets and triggered a sharp sell-off in oil. In line with the ceasefire, the passage for all vessels is declared completely open. Trump said on Thursday the leaders of Israel and Lebanon agreed to a 10-day ceasefire. Drivers are getting a modest reprieve at the pump, with the national average price for regular slipping 7 cents over the past week to around $4.09 a gallon. It needs to get down a lot lower than that, though. It does. It needs to get back under $3. It does. It needs to be under $3. I mean, 275, 265, somewhere around there is, just inflationary means and stuff like that. I mean, that's about where it is. So, yeah, Europe is now reliant on U.S.-controlled oil. Threats of leaving NATO is going to get us Greenland ahead of schedule. Yeah, I hope so. You see patterns? I see patterns too. And don't let anyone lie to you, Lauren. Don't let anyone lie to you and tell you that if you notice patterns, that somehow you're a racist. Because noticing patterns doesn't make you a racist. It just makes you observant. That's all. Jay Schwartz says, I'm a professor. We're just as stupid back then as they are today. Well, I looked up gas prices in Flint, Michigan in 1970. It was about $0.25 a gallon. Still, prices remain elevated compared to recent months. The current national average is up sharply from $3.72 a month ago and $3.17 a year ago. I mean, gas prices in 2022 under Biden were over $4.50 a gallon in a lot of places. Really, really, really high. Oil peaked at one point in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it had an intraday trading at one point over $200 a barrel, and it closed at $130 a barrel at one day. So, hey, Eric Hunley is rated to stream. Well, thank you, America's Untold Stories. That's awesome. Thank you so much for rating the stream over there on Rumble. If you guys don't know, America's Untold Stories is a great little show with Mark Gruber and Eric Hunley. They talk about all types of crazy, wacky stuff, and I like it. So experts caution welcoming the development, warning that key questions remain about whether the calm will last. So these experts are saying, hey, wait, don't get excited. We still hoping something bad happens. This is great news, but it might be temporary, said Derek Ricefield, co-founder and former chairman of MarketWatch. The ultimate question is, do hostilities cease for the long term? Do we have a settlement that allows oil and other critical commodities like urea to flow out of the Persian Gulf uninterrupted? Or are we back to a supply disruption in a few weeks? You remember the 70s when folks freaked out when gas hit $1 per gallon? Well, yeah, but in the 70s, the reason it hit $1 per gallon like that, it was it quadrupled in price because of the whole, there was an embargo. I think it had to do, it was it happened twice. The first time was the Shah shut the spigots off because there was a disagreement with the West and the Shah. And I'm pretty sure that's why we allowed these college students to take over the country and bring this wacky 12ers into power. Yes, urea, nice name for dried piss. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And this is out of Israel from Israeli National News, says that Iran opens the Strait of Hormuz and President Trump announces the straits reopened for passage. His naval blockade will continue. And this is from the Times of Israel, says Trump, U.S. to maintain blockade of Iranian ships until the agreement with Iran is reached. How does this get screwed up? These are not in the right order here. Stock indices surge, oil's prices dry up after the Strait reopened. This is from Fox Business, says oil prices plunge after Iran says Strait of Hormuz is open for commercial shipping. So let's see what this clown has to say.
Meet Luke and Jason.
Hey, Luke, Jason, what's up?
Two guys with a drink.
This is a damn Walmart commercial. The Strait of Hormuz has gone from an Iranian asset to a liability, former U.S. diplomats say. Former U.S. Special Representative for Iran, Brian Hook, on Fox News, and Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen discussed the endgame for Iran's economy on Kudlow. Oil prices plummeted 10% on Friday after Iran's foreign minister said the Strait of Hormuz will be open to all commercial shipping. We saw that. Let's see. Who knew? Yeah, who knew Walmart could do all this stuff?
Let's get to it. We welcome back to the show Brian Hook, who's a former U.S. Special Representative for Iran, and Mark Thiessen, Fox News contributor, newspaper columnist extraordinaire. All right, Mark Thiessen, you lead off. I'm sure you saw it. I thought it was quite extraordinary. I think this whole story is providential. Pardon me for that, but that's my religious spirit coming out. I think it's a miracle what we're looking at, and I think President Trump is proving to be the greatest commander-in-chief since the Second World War. What is Mark Thiessen thinking?
So what is the greatest mistake that American presidents and world leaders have made over the centuries is that they don't take the words of the enemy seriously. So in the 1900s, Lenin published What Is to Be Done, promising to overthrow the czars and launch a communist revolution. We didn't take him seriously. 100 million people died because of communism. Hitler publishes Mein Kampf, declaring his promise to build a Aryan superstate and massacre the Jews. We don't take him seriously. 25 million people die in World War II. If Osama bin Laden publishes a fatwa in 1996 saying he's declaring war on America and Israel and promising their destruction, we don't take him seriously. 9/11 and the wars of 9/11. Putin publishes a document saying that the Ukrainian people and Russian people are one people and will be united by force if necessary. We don't take him seriously.
Thank you, Lauren.
That happens.
Thank you.
The Iranians have been saying for
means
decades,
a lot to me. Thank you very much.
Death to America, death to Israel. Donald Trump is the first president to take the words of the enemy seriously and to stop them before they kill millions.
Yep.
That is what is happening here. That is the miracle we are seeing unleash, which is a president, for the first president in American history, to act before the monsters of history massacre millions of people. That's what we've seen in the last 40 days in Iran.
With a steadfast vision, Brian Hook, a steadfast vision in the face of a remarkable barrage of criticism from the Democratic Party, from the legacy media, and for heaven's sakes, from sometimes the clergy even. I mean, but he had his vision, and he stayed with it. And, there are ups and downs and sideways and so forth. I think the blockade was the absolute coup de grace, Brian. I want to get your take on that. Trump said today it might even be more important than the military. I don't think it's necessary to choose between the two. But the blockade is the final blow, the financial blow, the economic blow. Iran will not have an economy in the next, I don't know. It's already starting. Give it another week or two of the blockade, and they will not have an economy. Foreign countries like the UAE and places, Qatar, they won't even do banking with Iran. I mean, it will collapse, I think, Brian. And this, too, was Trump's vision.
Larry, I think you're right. And this blockade, this economic blockade of Iran through the Strait is brilliant because the Iranian regime saw the Strait as their asset, and they used it to put economic pressure on Trump. President Trump has now turned that into a liability for the Iranian regime. And there is now economic pressure on the Iranians in order to come to a deal. And this is what I would call coercive diplomacy. The things that the president has done militarily and now economically, Operation Epic Fury followed by Operation Economic Fury, is strengthening the hand of his diplomats. And that is much more likely to produce the kind of outcome we need on nukes, missiles, and proxies. The Iranian regime right now, if you look at its economy, Larry, it has the highest inflation of any country in the world, something like 50% annually. Its currency has lost 97% of its value, and there is no economic growth. The Iranian economy is a cash economy. The regime relies on currency from oil sales to keep this whole enterprise afloat. And so by shutting down the Strait to Iranian boats, the regime is going to experience a cash crunch, and that is going to lead to domestic unrest, and they can't have a repeat of what happened in January.
That could be, by the way, that's such an important point. Civilians want to take over. That could be the regime change. I mean, in history, if the people can't buy bread, they revolt. And that's what may happen in Iran. They're not going to have the money to buy bread for breakfast in the morning, for heaven's sakes, much less, nutriments and milk and things of that sort.
Yeah, I think that's what Trump is hoping on, and what the plan is. They thought that if they make it bad enough, that's kind of trying to do the same thing in Cuba, trying to cause the Cuban people to, rise up and get rid of the communists that are holding them down. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard, though, for people that have been completely disarmed to fight back against a totalitarian government that, has no problem slaughtering 40, 50,000 people that are protesting, which is what Iran did in January.
Speaking of the end game and what I call unconditional surrender, let me just play some tape from what General Jack Keane told me last night on the show. Please take a listen.
We want everything. You surrender everything to us. By the deadline, you make a commitment to that. And that means everything, just as President Trump has said before. We make zero concessions to these guys, zero. And we don't throw them a lifeline.
All right. So what do you make of that, Mark Thiessen? General Keene's being very tough. President Trump is always open to diplomacy. He's talking about a deal, but I'm not sure what the deal is. The deal. I mean, Iran. We're not bargaining with Iran anymore. There is no Iran. They have nothing. They had nothing to lean on. They have no. They're gone. So they got to turn over the nuclear, the uranium, the nuclear sites. They have to have inspection rules. Eventually, the Hormuz will be opened up. But that's. I mean, I think Keene is right. Until they change their behavior, we don't want to help them. No more. Obama gave them all that money. There's cash assets that they want. Yep. No, not now.
Yeah, the deal is you give us 110% of what we're asking for, and we won't kill you, and we won't crush your economy.
Right.
That's the deal.
Right.
That's the deal. There's no cash infusions. This is what we're going to do. And by the way, what that means is we go in. They let us go in, as we did in 2003 in Libya, and we went in and we crated up, so U.S. military planes, we crated up all their nuclear materials, all their centrifuges, everything, and took it to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, supervised the destruction of their ballistic missiles, and ended their program. That's what we're talking about. They let us do that. We won't kill you. And by the way, these leaders who are negotiating with him, the only reason they're alive, they were taken off the kill list, is in order to negotiate. If they're not willing to make a deal, then they have no reason to continue living. So they can join the Ayatollah Khamenei.
Well, I think that's not a bad negotiating tactic. We win, you lose. But actually, they would win. The people of Iran would win if they would take the deal, because they would no longer be a pariah. They would be, I don't know. It could be. It was such a beautiful place. It was so modern. It was such a wonderful place in the 60s and 70s before the fall of the Shah. I mean, I'm not saying they need a monarch back or anything. I'm not in favor of having a king or nothing like that. But if they were just a free, open society that didn't, rule everyone and basically have one guy just basically in charge, because that's what it is. You got one guy. It's like they got a king, but the king is just a religious king. That's kind of what they're dealing with now. That's not good. So, all right, let's see here. All right, now we got this. This is a great little story here. It says U.S. oil floats to top as Asia looks for Middle Eastern alternatives amid Iran war. So that's right. So the U.S. is now exporting more oil per more net oil than they were during World War II. Kimberly says, our dogs have allergies. Mine was allergic to grass. The vet prescribed omega fish oil. It helps a ton. Well, thank you so much. Maybe I'll try that, because I take omega fish oil every day. Maybe I'll give her some of mine. I've been trying different things. I have a special soap. I have all this stuff. It just nothing at this time of year, for whatever reason, this time of year, Kim, it's just brutal on her. It really is. I feel so bad. Icehouse says, I would go to Iran if they didn't ban comedy. Me too. I would go visit. If Iran was open and free, I would go there. Mark says, so many people are talking shit about this war. No one knows what the hell's happening, and they're lying liars keep on lying. That's right, man. That's all that happens. I'm just trying to read between the lines and see what's happening. I just want less people to die. Is that a bad thing to want? Less people to die? Oh, yours, Season Cat says it has awful trying everything besides Apoquel. Well, Bella was on Apoquel. Bella was taking an Apoquel every day for years. She would take an Apoquel every day. It started to cause problems with her. She started to get like really bad, like chronic diarrhea from it. And the vet said, yeah, that can happen. You're going to have to take her off of it for a while. So that's why I'm doing other stuff now. Oh, whose birthday is it? Is it Mama Pillow's birthday? Yesterday was Mama Pillow's birthday? Oh, and I didn't get to sing her happy birthday. Mama Pillow, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mama Pillow. Happy birthday to you. How old are you? How old are you? How old are you, Mama Pillow? How old are you? Happy birthday, Mama Pillow. Many, many more. Don't do Apoquil. It's awful for dogs. Buyers from Japan, South Korea, and Singapore and Thailand have helped push our May sales to over $600 barrel for highest in 3 years. Asian refiners have grown increasingly reliant on U.S. crude as oil-starved fuel makers scour the globe to replace Middle Eastern supply and stave off shortages that could ripple through the broader economy. Buyers in Japan led the charge to purchase May loading cargoes from the U.S. early in the month, with South Korea, Singapore, and Thai processors also among customers. Said traders familiar with the matter, at least 60 million barrels of grades from the U.S. Gulf were bought for loading next month, in line with the tally for loading in April, according to traders. That was the highest level in 3 years. Hey, Genome Editor, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. I hope work's going well. I hope everything's doing really good with you. The war in Iran and near closing of the Strait of Hormuz, now in its 7th week, has choked off crude flows to Asia and thrown its refining industry into disarray. The U.S. and Iran are mulling a 2-week ceasefire extension, but the blockade from both sides remains in effect. Have you tried taking her to the vet for a cortisone shot? She actually did have, they did give her prednisone when she was like about a year and a half. The first time it got really bad, she was like a year and a half, 2 years old. They gave her prednisone, I think, or something, and she blew up. She gained 20 pounds in like 2 weeks, and they're like, oh, stop. So that's when went on the Apoquil. A fuel-making crisis in Asia has already trickled down to everyday consumers and the broader economy, with some governments moving to cut demand, airlines dropping flights, and shortages threatening the industry. That's right. I don't know if you guys have heard. It was actually yesterday's news. I didn't have a chance to cover it yesterday. Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit now. Spirit Airlines might be filing for bankruptcy protection because, for whatever reason, they did not pre-purchase their fuel. Most airlines pre-purchase their fuel at a set rate for at least 6 months to a year. They buy it and whatever, we lock in this price. So they're guaranteed to get it at that price. Spirit didn't do it. And so the rising costs have basically bankrupted Spirit Airlines. Most of the U.S. oil headed to Asia would be loaded onto a very large crude carriers known as VLCCs, which carry around 2 million barrels of crude, and some smaller tankers are also used. These include the Aframax tankers, which can traverse the Panama Canal for a quicker journey to East Asia. Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying, Mama Pillow. What are we going to do? Spirit Airlines going out of business? That'll take away a lot of the airplane violence content. Yeah, where are we going to watch these videos of people behaving badly on a plane? Okay. Now, right here, Iran war brings the U.S. closer to net crude exporter for first time since World War II. U.S. nearly became a net crude exporter last week for the first time since World War II, as shipments surged close to a record high to meet demand from Asia, and European buyers scrambled to replace the Middle East supplies cut by the Iran war. See, now what they're not really what they're not really saying about this, though, is we're actually exporting way more oil than we did during World War II, because it's a percentage rise. It says net exporter. That the amount of oil we use in the U.S. is drastically, like, I think it's 8x or 10x what it was during World War II, what we use now. So, the amount we're exporting is a lot more than we did. They're like locusts. They will find a new airline. Yeah, they probably will. I sounded like Mel Torme. You talking about me? I sounded like Mel Torme? Well, I try. You needed to hold a cigar and wide lapel jacket while doing the serenade. Oh, well. I was trying to do like a cross between, what the fuck's his name? James, oh my God. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Captain Kirk. I can't remember his name. Bill Shatner. And Torme, but U.S. and Israel's war with Iran triggered the largest ever disruption in the global energy market as Iran threatens to shipping stopped around a fifth Iran threats to shipping stopped around a fifth of the world's oil and gas supplies. Refiners in Asia and Europe, which depend on those supplies, have bought alternative cargoes from wherever they can, sharply boosting demand from oil from the U.S., the world's largest producer. So the United States is the world's largest oil producer. Huh. What do you think about that? Huh. That's odd. However, analysts and traders said the U.S. is rapidly approaching its export capacity. Net imports of crude oil, or the difference between imports and exports, narrowed to 66,000 barrels per day last week, the lowest on record in weekly data going back to 2001, according to U.S. government data released on April 15th. At the same time, exports climbed to 5.2 million barrels per day, the highest level in 7 months. Wow. James Tiberius Kirk. Yes. There was a no export law for many years. Yeah. Wonder if it's coming from Venezuela. Some of it's coming from Venezuela. How much, though, I'm not exactly sure. I thought they said 2 billion barrels, but maybe I heard that wrong. On an annual basis, the U.S. was last a net exporter of crude oil in 1943. Rising U.S. crude exports are evidence that the Atlantic Basin and Asian buyers are reaching further out for supply, with regional oil prices differentials offsetting shipping costs. Countries such as Greece have snapped up U.S. crude for the first time in recent months. About 2.4 million barrels per day, or some 47% of U.S. exports last week, sailed towards Europe. Around 1.49 million barrels per day, or about 37%, headed to Asia, up from 30% a year ago. Look at these crown thingies. What are you talking about, on YouTube? What are you talking about on YouTube? YouTube is nuts. Oh, the crown. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's some YouTube thing. It's top something or other, top supporter, top fan. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I can't figure it out. Top buyers include the Netherlands, France, Germany, Japan, and South Korea. A vessel carrying 500,000 barrels of crude signaled it was en route to Turkey, which would mark the first U.S. export to the country in at least a year. Soaring benchmark Brent makes U.S. oil attractive. Imports to the U.S., meanwhile, dropped by more than 1 million barrels per day to 5.3 million barrels per day last week. The U.S. still imports a lot of its crude, as its refineries are designed to take heavier, more sour grades than the light, sweet crude it produces. The disruption to the Middle East supply blew out the premium for Brent crude futures over U.S. West Texas intermediate crude to as much as $20 a barrel. So the price differential was $20 a barrel. That's a lot. That's a lot. Reducing U.S. buyers' appetites for imports while making U.S. crude attractive to refiners in Europe and Asia. The price of physical crude oil cargoes for prompt delivery to Europe hit a record high near $150 a barrel on April 13th. And those for Africa hit new peaks, according to the LSEG data and traders. Wow. Wow. Look at this chart. It was down 65, 63, then whoop, it shot up. And then April 7th, 138 a barrel. Wow. That was Europe. That's not U.S. That's not U.S. U.S. exports are likely to touch about 5.2 million barrels per a day for April. It's broken. You broke YouTube. I saw your crown. Yeah, I did. I don't know what it means, though. That's what I'm saying, Snarf. I don't have any clue what it means. I'm clueless as to what it means. No, I'm saying? The U.S. can export as much as 6 million barrels per day, traders and analysts said, citing limited pipeline capacity and vessel availability. Oh, but didn't Trump just sign something, permits for 9 new pipelines? 9 new pipelines? 9 new pipelines? Its exports hit a record high of 55.6 million barrels. Oh, where'd Bella go? Where did Bella go, everybody? What do you think? Bella getting herself a drink? There she is. She's getting herself a drink over there. There she goes. What's she going to do next? Crowns are for today's top chatter. The market's already testing the export ceiling with the 5.2 million barrels per day exported last week. Every incremental barrel from here costs more in freight and logistics than the last one. Huh. Well, why is that? A release of medium sour crude from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Why would we want to do that? We don't want to release our Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We should be adding. As soon as the oil gets down. What's it say? There was no article when Biden hit 5.6 million. I don't know what you mean. YouTube crowns do affect gift memberships. You used to have to be in chat to get the memberships, but now all subs eligible. If you get several crowns, it does increase gift chances. Oh, well, that's awesome to know, Mama Pillow. Oh, wow. FAA is reportedly considering partnering with Palantir for new AI tool for air traffic control. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I feel comfortable having AI in charge of air traffic control. I don't think I like that. I don't think they like that. So yeah, a release of medium sour crude from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve could push more light, low sulfur U.S. crude grades out for export. But a shortage of tankers and higher freight rates could hurt the export demand. About 80 empty super tankers were heading to the Gulf of Mexico. No, it's the Gulf of America as of April 15th. Likely to pick up crude in April and May. Yeah, AI air traffic control, what could possibly go wrong? All right. Hey, delay's obvious. Great to see you. Just got done cutting the yard. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for being here. Mm-hmm. This is the worst AI will ever be. Biden exported 5.6 million barrels and the news was silent. Yeah, but when that happened, wasn't that when he released all the oil out of our strategic reserve? That's why they exported it. He emptied our strategic reserve to send it over other places. I if I'm wrong, correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's when he dumped all the oil out of the strategic reserve. 50 million barrels or something he let out. Waymo in the air, talk about a jet to holiday. Yeah. All right, and we got this story, which was very interesting. Trump says that Iran will suspend its nuclear program. Yeah, he sold our reserves. That's what I thought. Yeah. Biden made us vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So President Trump said Iran has agreed to suspend its nuclear program indefinitely, fueling optimism that a deal to end the war is in reach after Tehran announced the Strait of Hormuz will open again. I don't like the new terminal at Detroit Airport for Delta. Parking expensive, and you walk for miles to get to your gate. Trump said Iran has agreed to suspend its program, fueling optimism that a deal can be reached. In a Friday phone interview, Trump asserted that any moratorium on Iran's nuclear activities would not expire, saying it would be unlimited. Biden's release didn't count because it was already produced. Okay. Most of the main points are finalized. It'll go pretty quickly, Trump said. Is this, let's see what this is here.
For just $469 a month, Naples Infiniti and Naples Nissan. Two great dealerships now in one convenient location.
Cuando te chocan y no conoces tu...
What? You try to trick me here with another commercial? You jerks. What? Oh, Financial Post. You guys are a bunch of jerks off with this stuff, I swear, with these. What is this? Why won't this get out of here? Oh, man. That sucks. What is happening here?
And whether you view it as I wonder what you make of the move we are seeing today and whether you view it as overdone, considering that the catch-up of flows, if you will, is something that has not yet fully materialized.
Hi, Kaylee and Joe, and happy Friday. Yes, here we have another instance. And really what's remarkable about this conflict is how repeatedly successful The administration is, and they had an assist from the Iranian foreign minister.
What the? All right, that's it. That's it. No more. Financial Post, you suck. No, I'm never going to get a story from these guys again. I can't believe how shitty they are. Details of any potential deal remain murky, and Iran has yet to comment on Trump's claim. At the same time, momentum built through the day toward an agreement. Leaders in Tehran said that Hormuz is open for commercial traffic. Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You pay the Iranians for less commercials. You ain't kidding. I mean, what's going on here? Did you see the guy? What's up, Ice House? Did you see the guy they sent? Did you see they sent the guy that stabbed the girl in Charlotte to an insane asylum? I took a jog one time through Charlotte, and it gave me, it made your knees hurt. It made your knees, your growing knees hurt. That's terrible. Trump told reporters on Friday that the U.S. and Iran held some very good discussions, and a lot of good things are happening, and it includes Lebanon. Well, that's terrible about that guy. Why, if the guy's crazy, why wasn't he crazy any of the 34 other times he was arrested? That doesn't make sense. Trump's comments on Tehran declaration marked the latest sign that the two sides are working behind the scenes on a deal. Those strikes prompted Iran to retaliate against U.S. bases across the region and hit oil and gas infrastructure. A notable shift, real-world oil prices eased significantly alongside the headline. So we saw that they fell below $100 a barrel. All right. This says, Trump says Iran agreed to suspend its nuclear program. I was hoping we would actually get to see a video of Trump talking about this in one of these, but I guess not. In an interview to Bloomberg, Trump said Iran has agreed to suspend its nuclear program. Have you thought about doing a podcast? I'm doing what? I would love to be on with you. Isn't this what I'm doing now? Isn't this a podcast? What am I doing? I'm really confused. Biden sold millions of barrels to China in 22. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He emptied our reserves and sold them to China. In a separate interview with Reuters, Trump said the United States and Iran will work together to recover highly enriched uranium that's been buried underground. Well, that's good. We're going to get it together. We're going to go in with Iran at a very nice leisurely pace, go down and start excavating with big machinery, and we'll bring it back to the United States. Oh, you think he means guests and he wants to be one. Oh, well, I can listen to it on Spotify and stuff. That is the thing, unless you upload there. Oh, I don't even know how I would upload to Spotify. Like, you're talking like, an audio only podcast. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Send me a message on Isal. Send me a message. Send me the message, a message on X. I don't even know how to. I'd have to look into it because it does make sense. I probably could do it. Maybe I'd have to cut out any of the other stuff when I'm not. I'd have to cut out a lot of stuff, though. I think I'd have to edit it to do it. Yeah, and after he stole the reserves, he put limits on drilling and refining. Yeah. The official said significant differences remain, including other nuclear issues, and other serious talks were still needed. Early Friday, in what appeared to be a gesture from the Iranian regime towards Washington ahead of continued negotiations, they announced that the Strait of Hormuz will be fully open. And then, because of all this happening, Trump announced that he might go to Islamabad. Just YouTube it. It's super easy to send your recordings to a different platform. Okay, I'll look into it. Maybe I will do that. I might go to Islamabad if the Iran deal is reached. That's what Trump says. He might go. He might go. Trump says he might go. He says he might go.
Let's welcome in Republican Congressman Scott Fitzgerald of Wisconsin. Good morning,
No, this is not about the story. I hate when they do that. President Trump said Thursday that he would consider traveling to Pakistan, or as I call it, the Pakistanlis. Yes, always take Trump seriously, not literally. Isao says, I would watch you so much more if I could just listen while I work. Well, it's not a bad idea. I'm going to have to really look into that. Does that make sense? Because I have such a beautiful voice. I don't think so. People tell me, but I don't think so. He highlighted the country's role in negotiations. I would go to Pakistan, Trump told reporters when asked about if he would visit the nation to seal an agreement. Pakistan has been great. They've been so good. If I sign a deal in Islam is bad, I might go. Well, I would sign a deal that says Islam is bad. Pakistan has emerged as a key intermediary as Washington and Tehran attempted to reach a new understanding, with talks continuing despite the setbacks. The U.S. is currently enforcing a blockade on Iranian ports as a temporary ceasefire between the two sides is set to expire next week. Negotiations in Islamabad last week failed to produce a breakthrough. Still, all parties remain engaged. Pakistan's foreign ministry confirmed Thursday, that communications between the U.S. and Iran is ongoing, though Islamabad, with efforts underway to organize another round of talks, though no date has been finalized. Pakistan's foreign minister confirmed Thursday that communications between the U.S. and Iran is ongoing through Islamabad, with efforts underway to organize another round of talks, though no date has been finalized. Wait, didn't I just read that same thing? Who will come? How big the delegation will be? Who will stay? Some will stay. Who will go? Who will stay and who will go now? Should I stay or should I go now? Show now. As a mediator, it's important for us to keep the talks confidential. We had the details and information of the talks entrusted to us by negotiating partners. Early Thursday, Trump also announced that Israel and Lebanon had agreed to a 10-day ceasefire. We saw that. Israel launched a series of strikes in Lebanon since the start of the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran, targeting Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorist groups. Iran and Pakistan have argued that Lebanon was included in the original ceasefire agreement, while the U.S. and Israeli officials have pushed back on that claim. Same thing from the Hill. Trump says he may go to Islamabad if Iran war deal signed in Pakistan. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, here's Trump talking. What do you know? Hold on. We got Trump talking there.
Right now is to make sure Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
Would you ever go to Pakistan to seal the deal yourself?
I would go to Pakistan, yeah. Pakistan has been great. They've been so good. Islamabad, I might go. Yeah, I might go. If the deal is signed in Islamabad, I might go. The field marshal has been great. The prime minister has been really great in Pakistan. So I might go. They want me.
Very interesting. Yeah, so Trump also announced that Iran has agreed to almost everything. Well, that's good. Oh, look at this. RFK says Trump is the most sane president. Oh, wait, what? Is he going to say it, or is it just a story? Oh, never mind. So Robert F. Kennedy has insisted that he has not been a president more sane than Donald Trump as he testified before the House lawmakers. Representative Mark Takano asked Secretary of Health and Human Services whether he would vote to invoke the 25th Amendment if the president failed a mental fitness test, all while Trump's controversial post depicting himself as Jesus was held up behind him. I did not think it was Jesus. I didn't see a halo. I just thought it was, there hasn't been a president who is more sane, RFK Jr. declared before he was pushed to answer the question. Well, Oh, now we got this story. This is some good news, folks. This is good news right here. Last U.S. convoy exits Syria. Definitely a face for radio. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You wouldn't go where? You wouldn't go to Pakistan? It'd be risky. RFK's testimony was great. Jim's hiding his face behind the chat stuff. Well, that's what I said. They told me I had a face for radio, so that's why I figured I should hide my face. Maybe I would do better. Although I will note that since my face was hidden, we lost 50 people watching on YouTube. Just saying. I don't know if two things are correlated. Correlation doesn't mean causation and all that jazz, but Yes, the last U.S. convoy exits Syria after brutal 14-year regime change proxy war. Widespread reports on Thursday say the very last U.S. military convoy has finally departed Syrian territory. With the years-long occupation of the primarily northeast oil and gas-rich sector over the mission-accomplished fashion, it brings to a final close, the 14-year-long bloody proxy war, which overthrew the Assad government and ultimately installed a pro-U.S. Saudi Axis puppet in a person of founding Syrian al-Qaeda, Abu Muhammad al-Jalani, now known as President Ahmed al-Shara. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives in a regime change war, with the country and its economy left in a sanctioned, starved, and conflict-demolished state of ruins. The U.S.-backed Syrian Foreign Ministry declared Washington had decided to complete its military mission in the country. Oh, look at this. Gypsy says, I'm like number 63. What's your like number? Yes, please, please, please. Please hit that like button. Just do it, please. Please. The Syrian state is today fully capable of leading counterterrorism efforts from within in cooperation with the international community, it said, happy to now be back in control of the domestic oil and gas supply. The ministry welcomes the completed handover of military sites where the United States forces were previously present in Syria to the Syrian government, adding that the handover of these sites was carried out in full coordination between the Syrian and American governments. While Pentagon propaganda had for years touted an anti-ISIS mission, the real purpose of the troop presence was to cut off Damascus under Assad of its sovereign natural resources, and to arm and prop up the Kurdish Arab coalition called the Syrian Democratic Forces, the SDF. See, now, I'm old enough to remember when the SDF stood for the Robotech Force, the SDF, Space Defense Force. All the while, the CIA supported Sunni hardline jihadists who were indistinguishable from ISIS in their ideology in the fight against the Syrian army, and the civilian population, which often largely supported the secular Ba'ath government. The broader strategy has long been to destroy the Tehran, Baghdad, Hezbollah, Shia axis, even if it meant using ISIS as a tool of regime change. Jay Schwartz says, Jim, don't change a thing. You're easy on the eyes, and your voice is amazing. Super Dimensional Fortress 1. That's what it was. Yeah. SDF 1. That's right. And it changed shape. It changed it from a ship to a giant robot. Ironically, in the process of this U.S. handover of oil and gas facilities back to the post-Assad Damascus, the Kurds were thrown under the bus again. I wonder if this had to do with, now this is just me spitballing here, and I wonder if the reason the Kurds got thrown under the bus again was because we gave the Kurds a bunch of weapons that they were supposed to bring and give to the people in Iran, and the Kurds stole the weapons. So maybe that's why we're like, you guys aren't trustworthy. We can't deal with you. Maybe. Hey, Phil, what's up, man? Let's not pump his ego too much now. Listen, look at the size of his head. Could it get any bigger? If it got any bigger, it would pop. Their dream for an autonomous enclave, Rojava, once again proved illusory. And in the long term, the Kurds will find themselves at the mercy of the Sunni fanatics on the one hand and the Turkish state under Erdogan on the other. And this guy says, the United States did not withdraw from Syria. The United States privatized Syria. The man President Trump installed as the sovereign face of the Hormuz bypass architecture was the specially designated global terrorist list with a $10 million bounty on his head. That's right. And now he does what we won't. What we won't. Because we run with gangs. Following the U.S. withdrawal, the Jolani regime moved troops into Kasarak Berisk in the Hasakah Governorate in the northeastern Syria on Thursday. Earlier in February, the U.S. exited Shadaladadi in eastern Syria, Al-Tanf on the Syrian-Jordan-Iraq border. U.S. Central Command CENTCOM confirmed that the completion of the process for the turning over of all our major bases in Syria, but it also said U.S. forces would continue to support partner-led counterterrorism experts. What does that mean, folks? U.S. forces would continue to support partner-led counterterrorism efforts. That means there's still some troops there helping, like advisors like we had in Vietnam. That's what they're saying. Holy Often Moly says, I can understand the Kurds just taking them. I can also understand them wanting to maybe vet who they are giving them to first or something if they're like, yeah, I can agree with that. I can totally agree with that. But I think what happened is they took them and then they just said, yeah, no, we're just keeping them. And so then it's like, okay. Repositioning our troops related to the ongoing anti-Iran operations. It seems the U.S. has ended its ground presence in Syria, which lasted for 12 years. The last convoy just rolled out of Khazrak base in northeast Syria and is now moving towards Jordan. We all know what that means. Oh, you saw me at Great Lakes back in 91? Okay. I think I was there in 91. Yeah. I saw you for just a minute. Same thing here. U.S. exits Syria's Qasrak base, a gift to ISIS, or a green light for Turkish expansion. Uh-oh. What's this story going to say? On April 16th, 2026, the United States finalized its withdrawal from the Qasrak air base in Syria's Haskak province. Yeah, what are you, writing a book? You have a very good memory, yes. Transferring control of the country's largest remaining American installation to the Syrian Arab Army's 60th Division as a final convoy of troops and equipment departed towards the Jordanian border. U.S. Central Command designated the maneuver as deliberate and conditions-based transition. Huh. The entire region is fucked. We should cut our losses. I don't disagree. I really don't. I don't want any American troops on the ground in the Middle East fighting people. I don't want that at all. I don't want it, but if it's absolutely necessary, like if we have to do something, otherwise we're going to end up getting, nuked or something, then, hey. The reality on the ground suggests a far more volatile outcome. Qasrak was not the standard outpost. It was the central nervous system of the coalition's counter-ISIS architecture and a critical observation node monitoring Iranian supply lines. American personnel worked closely with the Syrian Democratic Forces to maintain a fragile equilibrium in the northeast. The closure of the base fundamentally alters the regional balance of power by removing the primary buffer. There's a lot of buffers in the Middle East, just like the Corleone family had a lot of buffers. Most immediate and acute risk stemming from the U.S. departure is the revitalization of the Islamic State. While the territorial caliphate collapsed in 2019, deeply entrenched sleeper cells have maintained a persistent and low-level insurgency. Recent intelligence assessments have tracked an uptick in jihadist activity across the Hazak and Dayer el-Zor corridors. The U.S. exit dramatically alters the counterterrorism landscape by stripping the region of advanced American intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities. Furthermore, the Syrian Arab Army's 60th Division suffers from resource depletion, internal cohesion issues, and a lack of specialized training. They cannot seamlessly replace the targeted and intelligence-driven operations previously conducted by U.S. Special Operations Forces. Hey, Sweet Daydreams, what's up? Good evening, family. What's up? Hi, Bella and the cat. Hope to see you soon. The cat was in here. The cat boogied. The cat boogied a little while ago. Cat's out. Cat likes to go out at night and roam around on a lanai. So, a localized ISIS resurgence in northeast Syria will inevitably spill over the porous border into western Iraq. This contagion threatens the broader security of the Mesopotamian region and will force Baghdad to divert critical resources to its frontier. What do we think about that? As long as we don't end up going back there, they can have at it. And AP just says U.S. completes withdrawal from key base in Syria as part of larger drawdown. Oh, what's a larger drawdown? What do you mean? Said the U.S. withdrawal came as a result of successful implementation of a deal between Syria's central government in Damascus and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, which had previously controlled much of the northeast. That's good. That's good. All right, then we got this, which is like, I wasn't happy about this. They don't think we still have some black ops with them. Well, that's what they said. That's what these papers are reporting, but you just got to read between the lines when it said we will still be supporting partner-led initiatives. So what that means is they're going to be leading them with our people advising them, actually, making sure they don't get schwacked. You've never seen the cat? Oh, I'm going to have to correct that. Yes, we need to see the cat soon. Okay. All right. Relax. So the House votes to extend surveillance powers until April 30th. That's right. You heard it. There was a big kerfuffle because the Senate had actually passed something to expand it like a lot further, like to keep it going for a couple years, the FISA court stuff. And then the House was like, whoa. Why are we going to do this when all the abuses that happened, what are we doing? Why are we going to? And so they're only extending it for like a very short period of time. What happened to Julian Assange? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about a Julian Assange lately. 3 years, repeal FISA now. So they wanted to go, I think it was like 2-3 years. So 3 years they were going to do it for, and then now it's only going to April 30th. The bill cleared the House by unanimous consent. So the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill in the early hours of April 17th, extending Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, a law that grants the government authority for warrantless surveillance. The bill cleared the House by unanimous consent, extending the reauthorization of FISA till April 30th after Republicans pushed for a longer 5-year extension, which was not approved. The measure will now head to the Senate for a vote, which faces a tight deadline as the authorization is set to expire on April 20th. President Trump earlier called on Republicans to unify and vote to bringing a clean extension of the law to the floor, which, what are you doing? Yes, abolish secret courts, definitely. Like, I don't understand Trump on this one. Like, they use this, Trump. They use this to go after you. They're going to use this again to go after other fucking MAGA people. They're gonna. Julian is free in Australia. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm just saying I haven't heard any reporting of his lately. I haven't seen him doing anything. Like, I knew he was free, but I didn't know, like, what is he like? Did he make some kind of a deal so that he could that for them to release him, that he wouldn't do something, and that's why he's staying silent? Like Pat Hacker says, I think Julian had to sign some sort of agreement not to go public if he was released. What happened to Snowden? I think Snowden's still in Russia, but Snowden, personally, my opinion, all Snowden did was report the crimes that were being committed against us. So I think he's more of a whistleblower than a traitor, but he did break the law. So I don't know. I'm torn with Snowden. I'm torn. Trump said that he had personally experienced what he called the worst and most illegal abuse of FISA in our nation's history. So why would you want to just rubber stamp it to keep going? Why wouldn't you want to put some permanent changes in there to rein it in so that there's actually some protections? Like something. Like, let them put in there that if this crap happens and they abuse it or they do this stuff, that you can actually sue. Like, that would be like, put it in there so that if they fuck around, they're going to find out. That's what I would do. He referenced disclosures that revealed the FBI had used Section 702 to spy on his 2016 presidential campaign. That's right. Obama wiretapped his phones. Snowden married a Russian woman and denounced his citizenship. Oh, well, if he denounced his citizenship, then he can stay there. Hey, Jim, a Bella Cat, what's up? I'll great to see you, American theme, huh? Nevertheless, Trump noted that the U.S. military desperately needs Section 702 of FISA to protect national security and carry out its missions, especially as operations continue against Iran, which the president said were aimed at curbing Tehran's nuclear weapons program. FISA should be abolished. I agree. FISA should be abolished. The Patriot Act should be overturned. The Hughes Amendment should go away. The Gun Control Act of 1968 needs to go bye-bye. The NFA of 1934 needs to go go away. I thank Snowden, but the ends doesn't justify the means. He needs to go to prison. You know what? I think I can agree with that. Like, he did a service. I don't know how long he should go to prison for. I'm not saying he should go to prison for the rest of his life. I'm not saying he should go to prison for 20 years, but he should do a little bit of time because he didn't follow the rules. There were certain things you're supposed to do, which he didn't do. I mean, he did report on all the abuses the government was doing to us, but we have to have some kind of rules. Otherwise, it's just fucking anarchy and chaos. With the ongoing successful military activities against Iran's Iranian regime, it's more important than ever that we remain vigilant, protect our homeland, troops and diplomats around and abroad, and maintain our ability to quickly stop bad actors from seeking to cause harm to the people of our country. I have spoken to many generals about this, and they consider it vital. Not one said, even tacitly, that they can do without it, especially right now with our brilliant military operation in Tehran. Well, abolish the 19th while we're squashing things. You know what? And the 17th. Yes, there's got to be rules. Them's the rules. Yeah, I mean, without rules, we just have chaos. Seriously. It's just the rules have to be applied fairly to everyone. So, Section 702 targets individuals from foreign nationals thought to be outside the United States. This doesn't make any sense. Section 702 targets intelligence from foreigners thought to be outside the United States, yet it also enables intelligence agencies to gather incidental information from Americans. Oh, kind of like the NSA, where they just incidentally gathered every fucking bit of information and all of our, all of our private information. They just gather it all up, just incidentally, not on purpose, just incidentally. It was an accident. They just slipped and fell into all of our metadata. The right to privacy is a rule. Yeah, it is. Section 702 has long caused bipartisan discomfort on Capitol Hill and beyond. Representative Jim Himes of Connecticut offered an amendment on April 15th that would require the Justice Department to obtain a court order before the FBI can access data collected from Americans, political groups, and nonprofits, with limited exceptions for addressing significant and time-sensitive national security threats. I have no problem with that, right? There should be, if it's an American citizen, you should get a friggin' warrant. You want to look at their stuff. FISA 702 is too critical to allow it to expire, but the legitimate concerns about the possibility of abuse also demand that we consider additional reforms, exactly what my amendment seeks to accomplish. Well, I'll have to say this. I don't know if maybe this is some kind of backdoor weird thing that Himes is doing, because he is a demon rat, but I could support that. I'd support repealing it and getting rid of it, but if you're going to have to keep it, maybe make them get a warrant if they're going to look at American stuff. Just saying. This is House and Senate approved short-term FISA spy powers extension after voting chaos. Chaos! Both the House and Senate voted on Friday to extend the government's spy powers under FISA for 10 days after Republicans struggled to iron out a compromise on reforms. The House had voted in the dead of the night to extend the controversial Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which faced steep opposition from a faction of the Republican conference who wanted reforms to the law, including a warrant requirement. Well, the guy that proposed the warrant was Jim Himes. That's a Democrat. Speaker Johnson initially attempted to tee up a vote Thursday afternoon on a bill that would extend the federal government's foreign surveillance power for 18 months, a plan supported by the White House. However, after multiple rounds of voting on different plans, a cohort of House Republicans joined the Democrats to block the extension. Shortly after 2 a.m. on Friday, Republicans agreed to an even shorter 10-day extension on Section 702. The Senate will consider the stopgap on Friday, racing to approve it before the power expires. Himes is a piece of shit. Trust nothing he says. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, wait a minute, what's he up to? What's really in there? What is he not telling us? What are they trying to pull over us? Are we just having a failure to communicate? President Trump has called for House Republicans to pass an extension arguing the powers which U.S. spies used to monitor communications of non-citizens abroad are more necessary than ever during this conflict with Iran. House Republicans who oppose the clean extension want to impose a new warrant requirement for Section 702 and curtail possible abuses against American citizens. Before being reelected president for a second term, Trump criticized FISA for facilitating the abuses of the baseless Russia hoax into his 2016 campaign. Pat Hager, what's up, Mama Pill says, someone was about to buy, it was taken from them. Okay. Sorry, that was private. I didn't mean to show that. Right, if you're in a chat and if it's something you don't want me to bring up on screen, just put no or something in parentheses at the beginning, or put a circle, like the Ghostbuster symbol, the circle with the line through it, without the ghost, but I ain't afraid of no ghost. And here's Fox News, faux news, some people call it faux news. House punts Trump spy powers extension after conservatives block deal, forcing end of month shutdown. Oh, totally okay. That's how you got your dog. She's a blessing. Hey, Cool Frog. What's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Awesome to have you here. FISA future. Let's see what this says. It's the FISA future.
House Republicans have punted the renewal of a key terrorism prevention program known as FISA Section 702. The House is trying to line up enough Republicans to pass the bill amid terror concerns due to the Iran conflict. Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram tells us where things stand tonight.
House Republicans scrambling to prevent a crucial anti-terrorism tool from going offline.
FISA will not go dark. We have a little slight delay. We're working through building consensus as we do on all difficult issues, and we'll get there. We'll get it done.
Some Republicans balking at an 18-month FISA extension.
I want warrants to surveil American citizens, and the Fourth Amendment is not for sale. I don't want our federal government buying data from private companies on American citizens.
FISA is designed to gather foreign intelligence data, but it sometimes sweeps up the telephone communications of Americans, including President Trump, before the 2016 election. But despite his past opposition to FISA, the president demands passage of this bill.
The president of the United States has said, this is what I want, this is what I need, and there are rank-and-file Republicans bucking him.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit surprising, but I think maybe the president's a little bit surprised by that, too.
One Trump ally says if the bill is good enough for the president, that should be good enough for House Republicans.
This program is critical. It helped us with the operation in Venezuela. It's certainly helping us with the operation going on in Iran as we speak.
But to some, the president's demand doesn't matter.
He's the executive, we're the legislative, and we're going to see a little bit of conflict between those two today.
Some Democrats even worry.
Oh my God! We have the greatest idea ever in the chat. I got to bring this up. Delay is obvious. Why didn't they just put the Save America Act with it? Yes, make the Save America Act tied to it. That's what you do. That's what you do. Tie them together. You're not getting this. Why don't we play hardball? You're not getting this unless you do the Save America Act. That's what you do. That's what you do.
About blacking out the program.
This is our single most important collection authority. If we just go dark on that stuff, a lot of people are going to get hurt, and that's why we just can't let it expire.
If there's a deal, the House could try reauthorizing the program tomorrow, but the Senate must align with the House. FISA expires early Tuesday. Brett?
Chad Pergram live on Capitol Hill. Chad, thanks. House Republicans have punted the renewal.
No. Okay. President Trump's push to extend the government's controversial warrantless surveillance powers suffered a minor setback on Friday after a group of conservative lawmakers rejected a compromise. Shortly before 2 a.m., House of Representatives approved the 2-week extension. We're very close tonight. There's some nuances with the language and some questions that need to be answered, and we'll get it done. Well, I'm not happy about that. I don't want him to get it done. GSC privacy hawks also shot down a compromise agreement that would have extended the surveillance law until 2031 while adding more stringent criminal penalties for violations of FISA searches. Well, there should be criminal penalties anyway. They have given up liberty for temporary security because Thune is as dirty as they come. Yes, he is. Thune sucks. Thune sucks. Thune sucks. Senate could pass it by unanimous consent as early as Friday. And I think the Senate already passed it. Yeah, here. The Senate already passed it. The Senate has approved the short-term extension of FISA. Senate passed a spy law bill on April 17th, which is today, extending Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, known as FISA. The law grants the government authority for warrantless surveillance. I'm confused about those. Doesn't the well, I guess the government can just establish that you don't need a warrant for some things. Like, could the government just pass a law saying that they don't need a warrant to come into your house? Could they do that? I think that would violate the Constitution. How doesn't this violate the Constitution? President Trump voiced his support for the bill. Trump said he had personally experienced what he called the worst and most illegal abuses of FISA in the nation's history. Then why don't you want to get rid of it? If that was able to happen to you, it's going to happen to someone else. 702 specifically applies to intelligence targets from foreign countries, though thought to be outside the United States. It also allows intelligence agencies to, without a warrant, gather incidental information from Americans who come in contact with the non-U.S. person. And I think it's not so much just come in contact. I think it's also people that come in contact with the people that come in contact with them. So they can do two hops. So if it's, here's the foreigner, and then the foreigner talks to your neighbor, and then your neighbor comes and talks to you, they can monitor your stuff because you talk to your neighbor who talked to the foreigner. New York Post, same thing. Congress passes 10-day extension to the government's foreign spying powers. Same thing with CBS. Senate passes extension. All right. We got on to the next story, folks. We have the U.S. to delay weapons deliveries to Europe amid the Iran war. Wow. U.S. officials have informed European counterparts that some previously contracted weapons deliveries are likely to be delayed as the Iran war continues to draw on weapons stockpiles. The three sources familiar with the matter said they don't need a warrant to spy on foreign targets. Well, it says they also don't need a warrant to spy on Americans if they come into contact with the foreign. They have the two-hop rule. That's the problem, Douglas. You don't need a warrant to spy on the foreigners, but what this allows them to do is it allows them to spy on Americans that come into contact with Americans that come into contact with those foreigners. So like I said, if your neighbor talks to a foreigner and then talks to you, you could get spied on by the government without a warrant because that neighbor talked to a foreign spy. The sources who spoke on the condition of anonymity said the communications were not public, said several European countries will be affected, including the Baltic regions and Scandinavia. Some of the weapons in question were purchased by European countries under the Foreign Military Sales Program, or FMS, but have not yet been delivered. Those deliveries will likely be delayed. The White House, the Pentagon, and the State Department did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Just want to see if there's anything different here. They use the 5 eyes, and suddenly everybody's a foreigner. You're a foreigner. You're a foreigner. You're a foreigner. Yes, if you have a phone, they're spying on you, pretty much. The government always wants the cookie jar open. They want all the cookies touching the first cookie. Yes. Yes. Hey, Lady Bama. What's Lady Bama? Lady Bama? Lady Bama? Is it Lady Bama? Like Alabama? Or Sweet Home Lady Bama? U.S. officials have informed some European counterparts that some previously contracted weapons are likely going to be delayed. Some countries will be affected, including those in the Baltic region, Scandinavia, 3 sources told. Some of the weapons in question were purchased by the FMS program. White House and Pentagon did not immediately respond to requests for comments. U.S. and Israel began strikes on Iran on February 28th. The campaign has raised concerns among some U.S. officials that the U.S. defense industry will be unable to keep up with the demands and could be forced to slow shipments to a number of buyers. The U.S. had already drawn down billions worth of weapons stockpiles, artillery systems, ammunition, anti-tank missiles since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, and Israel began a what military operation in Gaza? Really? Really? America First says, hello, everyone. So everyone associated with someone that's being spied on by FISA is also spied on? Yes. It's called the 2-hop rule. 2 hops. So they have the target. And then 2 hops away from the target. So that's why they were able to spy on Trump because of Carter Page. Because they said Carter Page is talking to these Russians, so we can spy on Carter Page. And because we can spy on Carter Page, we can spy on Trump, we can spy on this person, we can spy on this person. 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Yes, Early Bird Jim is feeding us the news. Yes, I'm just like a mama bird. I'm over you right now with my open maw, putting the news right into your open gullets. Yeah, that sounds great. No, I don't think that sounds great. 2-hop is ultra convenient. Yeah, it is. It's ultra convenient. Yeah, it's super convenient because when you think about how many people are connected, like how many people you connect with 2 hops. If they went with 3 hops or 4 hops, they could pretty much spy on everybody. I don't think there would be anybody. 4 hops, I think they could spy on anyone they wanted at any time and justify it. They really could. That has to do with that 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon, but it's actually 6 degrees. It's actually 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like they say, 99.5% of the population of the world is connected by 6 degrees of separation. Since the start of the Iran campaign, Tehran has fired hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones at Gulf countries. Most have been intercepted, including with the PAC-3 Patriot missiles, the Pac-Man. And for example, Ukraine relies on that to defend its energy and military infrastructure from ballistic missiles. Huh. They can take over your social media account. They did mine. Oh my God, Mama Pillow. You bastard. I hate them for doing that to you, Mama Pillow. I hate them. I hate them so much. And then the Kiev Post says White House delays weapons deliveries to Europe. So this is big news. I just heard the cat. Then this news, which I don't like this news one bit. This news makes me worried. This news makes me really, really worried. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons to leave the agency at the end of May. Bacon. Yes. Bacon's good. Can you say credenza? Credenza. Owned like a hoe. Meow, meow. So Lyon's last day. Why would you get rid of the lion of ICE? The ICE lion. He's the lion of ICE. Why would you get rid of him? Todd Lyons, the acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, will leave the agency at the end of May, the Department of Homeland Security announced on Thursday. Lyons is scheduled to work through May 31st, and he will then take a job in the private sector. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen said in a statement to EPAC. Did you guys see Mark Wayne Mullen out there talking about, we need more legal immigration? Where do these rhino pieces of crap? I said something. Anybody who's been watching me for a while, you saw me when this first came about Mark Wayne Mullen being nominated, and I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know if this is a good idea. And what's he out there doing now? Saying we don't want to get rid of legal immigration. We want more legal. We want all the legal people in we can get. So as many as we can, as long as it's legal. It's like, what? No. Director Lyons has been a great leader of ICE and a key player in helping the Trump administration remove murderers, rapists, pedophiles, terrorists, and gang members from American communities. He jump-started an agency that had not been allowed to do its job for 4 years. Thanks to his leadership, American communities are safer. We wish him luck on his next opportunity in the private sector. His last day is May 31st of 2026. Yes, and the Haitians. Oh, that's right. They want the Haitians to say. Did you see that? Oh, God, I don't want to use that word. Did you see that crazy lady out there trying to say that 20% of the healthcare workers are Haitians? It's like, no, they're not. What are you, some kind of maniac? 20% of healthcare workers in the U.S. are Haitians. No, they're not. No, they're not. Stop with the lies. They want to replace all the people that can't afford kids. How about we just make it so people can afford kids? Why don't we do that? Why don't we make it so that Americans can actually afford kids? Why don't we build this economy? Why don't we get back to manufacturing things in the United States? Instead of just buying crap and spending. Let's manufacture in the United States. Let's become a manufacturing powerhouse in the world again. Today is an American Todd is American patriot who made our country safe. The American people are deeply appreciated for his service because our leaders are corrupt, way too corrupt. Yes, they are. They've sold us down the river, all of them, both parties, honestly, for years. Sold us down the river. Then Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem appointed Lyons to lead ICE on March 9th, 2025. At the time, Lyons was acting executive associate director of ICE's enforcement and removal operations, as known as ERO. He was the former assistant director for field operations for enforcement and removal and oversaw all 25 field offices and domestic operations. Anyone with a Mickey Mouse name is sus. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I thought the Clintons fixed Haiti after the earthquake. Yeah. Didn't the Clinton Global Initiative have like $2 or $3 billion for Haiti? What did they do? They bought them like 3 chickens and a Coke, and that was it. Lyons replaced Caleb Vitello, then acting director of ICE, in March 2025. Vitello was reassigned. Lyons started his career with the federal government with the United States Air Force in 1993. He joined civilian law enforcement in Florida in 1999 and then joined ICE in April 2007. Hey, Brian Ogden, congratulations on getting home. Awesome to see you there, kid. Lyons said, early on Thursday, Lyons testified before the House Appropriations Committee about needing $5.4 billion for removal operations. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing, too. Now you got these Republicans like Mark Wayne Mullin and these other people saying, like, it just costs too much money to deport these people. Like, it would be cheaper just to keep them. It's like, no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. They all got to go. Everyone. Every single one. Every single illegal alien needs to go home. Everyone. Lyons told the committee that ICE had increased the department's operational tempo. That's right. Tempo. The violence of action will overcome anything. Since January 20, 2025, ICE has arrested 457,000 aliens, including 281,000 aliens with criminal histories, 8,400 suspected gang members, and 1,600 known or suspected terrorists. Just think about that. There was 1,600 known or suspected terrorists just roaming around the U.S. doing whatever the F they wanted. ICE attorneys represented DHS in more than 2 million removal hearings in 2025. 2 million removal hearings. That's awesome. I wish that was like 20 million. Like 2 million. If you do 2 million in 2025, that means you could do 2 million in 2026, 2 million in 2027, 2 million in 2028. That's only 8 million. That's not even half of the number that Biden himself let in during his presidency. Biden let in 20 million. 20 million. We need more. More! I'm deeply proud to stand alongside the dedicated men and women of ICE who work tirelessly every day to enforce our nation's immigration laws and safeguard our communities. Our officers and agents are being villainized for simply upholding and enforcing the law. I am the law. You won't have to run no more. The White House stated that in 2025, Homeland Security conducted more than 4,800 arrests related to child exploitation and rescued nearly 1,500 child victims from ongoing sex abuse. Disgusting. I think ICE should have like a vehicle that they tow, and the tow vehicle would have like a cage where they can put the illegals in, like a big, like a holding thing. Like if you ever saw the movie Hang 'em High with Clint Eastwood, where he becomes a deputy marshal. Marshall, what the fuck was his name? Marshall. Anyway, I can't think of his name. Marshall something or other. But and he would go around and collect the people, and he would have them in this like basically like a prison wagon or prison stagecoach type thing, and then he would take them to the hanging judge, and the hanging judge would hang most of them if he found him guilty. When he found him guilty. But behind that, they should also have a wood chipper. That way they could just make quick work of certain people. Stephen Miller, the president's deputy chief of staff, released a statement where he called Lyons a phenomenal patriot and dedicated leader. His courageous work at ICE has saved countless thousands of American lives and helped deliver safety and tranquility to millions of Americans. Yes. Repurpose the Barnum and Bailey trains. Yes, there you go. Perfect. Yes, there you go. Perfect. Acting Director ICE Director Lyons resigns after 20 years with the agency. Will stay on for a transition. Yeah, 20 years. Can you believe that? 20 years with ICE. And now he's leaving. Why is he leaving is the question. Why is he leaving? What's the question? Why is he leaving? Someone explain it to me. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons submitted his resignation letter to DH Secretary Markwayne Mullins. Now, I wonder, is this because of some kind of kerfuffle between him and Markwayne Mullin? Is Markwayne Mullin unhappy? Is he unhappy with the work that Lyons is doing? Why is it repeating the same frickin' ad? My sons are both reaching a pivotal point in our lives, and my wife and I wish to spend as much time possible with them. So, oh wait, what does he mean? How old are his kids? How old are his kids? I hope he's not ill. Well, that's what I'm wondering because of that statement about free helicopter tours. Yes, I would love to have a business called Pinochet's helicopter tours. Would be a wonderful business to have. Wonderful business to have. This was not an easy decision, but I believe it's the right one for me and my family at this time. At this time. Mullin said Lyons was a great leader of ICE and wished him luck in the private sector. Yeah, I'm sure he does. But I'm sure that we're going to get some milquetoast fence sitter to replace him at ICE. Director Lyons has been a great leader and a key player in helping the Trump administration remove murderers, rapists, pedophiles, terrorists, and gang members from the American community, said Mullin. Yeah. See, I'm sure that's what he said, see? All right. All right, and we got this story. This next story, Trump nominates new CDC director. I'm going to take 1 second here, folks, just to remind you all that we are upcoming on we're approaching 2 hours of the show. So the show's not going to end immediately at 2 hours. The show doesn't just end at 2 hours. It doesn't just shut off. It's going to go probably 2.5 hours, somewhere around there. Unless we hit the goal, but we are still, unfortunately, we had one donation only today, just one $25 donation, the whole show. So unless we, in the next, say, 45 minutes or so, we pick up the other 75, that's going to be a short show tonight. Let's be real. How has ICE done under his charge? Well, I mean, I would like them to do more. I really would. I don't think they've done enough. I think some of the stuff they've done, but then again, I don't know. I got to grab a drink, though, real quick. It'll take me 1 second. Yes, I had to grab myself a Snapple here. And while I'm having Snapple, I'm also going to remind you guys all about the King of Biltong right here. See? King of Biltong. It says all made in America, all natural. It's 140 calories per servings, 4 servings per bag. It has 5% of your fat. It has 17% of your cholesterol. So it's got some high cholesterol. It's got 26 milligrams of protein. That's a lot of protein. You can get this at BiltongUSA.com. Use promo code JIM for 10% off all your orders. Yes. All made in America, all natural, no preservatives, nothing crazy. It's naturally done, made the way of the true South Africans. Should we try it? Should we try it on the show? We take a piece and eat it? What do you think? Let's see. Oh, that's really good. Wow. That is really, really good. That is like, oh, Bella wants some. That is really good. That is like, made with real South Africans, like Girl Scouts are made with real Girl Scouts. Yes. Let's see. Bella wants some. That is really good. I might have a little piece. I'll give Bella some. Here, Bella. Here you go, Bella. Bella loved it. That is excellent. Oh, look at this. I guess I must have guilted you guys into it because we got this from America First. Says, let's show Jim that we support him, everyone. Thank you. That 10 brings us now to just 65 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you so much. And then Brian Ogden comes in with another 10. Thank you, Brian Ogden. That means we are now just 55 away from adding a first additional hour to the show. Thank you so much. Hella Bella treats. Yes, Bella got some treats there. She's waiting for more. She's standing there waiting, looking at me, going, well, throw some more. That's what she's doing right now. She's just staring. Watch. She's staring at me. Tell me, throw some more. Look at her. Where is it? Where is it? I want to find more. That's what she wants. She wants more. That's what she wants. She wants some more. But I can't, Bella. I don't have any more here, Bella. I put it away. So you're gonna have to go lay down. All right. Go lay down. Come on. Go lay down, sweetheart. Gizzards and tongues. No, that was pure Angus biltong. There's also one that's a Wagyu. I didn't try the Wagyu yet, but the Angus was excellent. I can't recommend it enough. I really can't. It was really good, really tasty. All natural, very good flavor. So it says Erica Schwartz has been selected to lead the public health agency, which has been a permanent director for only about a month during Trump's second term. And it says, "Hi, Bella. She is hungry. She's Bella's had her dinner already. She doesn't need to eat. She had a nice piece of biltong there. Maybe I'll give her some more later if we're still going later. We'll see." Here's Erica Schwartz. Look at that. So all these people saying Trump is a racist. Look at this. He's appointing a black woman to be the head of the CDC. That's pretty not racist, right? President Trump on April 16th said he nominated a new director for the Center for Disease Controls and Prevention. Trump said in a post on Truth Social that Dr. Erica Schwartz will lead the CDC. Let the Schwartz be with you. Yes, the Schwartz be with you. It's very fitting considering that Spaceballs 2, the new one, is coming out next year. She doesn't look black? What? She looks black to me. What are you talking about? Are you sure? Erica Schwartz. Huh. I mean, it's not Schwarza. It's not Erica Schwarza. Trump sent a post that Dr. Erica Schwartz will lead the CDC pending Senate confirmation. Trump called, now my mind keeps saying Schwarza. Schwartz, who holds a medical degree, a Juris Doctorate, and a master's degree in public health, incredibly talented and a star. Schwartz's professional background includes serving as a doctor in the U.S. military, working as a chief medical officer of the Coast Guard, and holding the position of Deputy Surgeon General during Trump's first term. Funny, she doesn't look Jewish. Yes, right? In Trump's second term, the CDC has had a permanent director for only about 1 month. Trump fired Susan Manares on August 27, 2025, about 4 weeks after the Senate confirmed her following clashes between Menarez and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy on vaccines. Her arrest record says she's white. Oh. Yes. May the Schwartz be with you. Yes. Mm-hmm. That dog needs to go on long walks. Well, she does. She gets to go on walks. Chris Klomp, Chief Counsel at the Department of Health and Human Services, the CDC's parent agencies, has said that officials were looking for an exceptional leader that would drive trust for this organization and be able to reform and drive the president's agenda for the CDC. Officials have said that they are working on returning the CDC to its principal goal of protecting the country from infectious diseases after what they described as missteps during the COVID-19 scamdemic, plandemic, scamdemic, plandemic, whatever you want to call it. Yes. Mm-hmm. Schwartz will need to win support from all Republicans and some Democrats on the Senate Health Committee, which has for months held up the nomination of Dr. Casey Means as Surgeon General. Trump also said on April 16th the CDC will have a new leadership team supporting the director, consisting of Sean Slavensky, a former Walmart executive, Dr. Jennifer Shuford, Commissioner of Health in Texas, and Dr. Sarah Brenner, current Food and Drug Administration official. Yes, that August 2025 selection was crazy. Yes, it was. Schwarzenegger means black plowman. Schwarzenegger means black plowman, I heard. Schwarze. The highly respected doctors of medicine have acknowledged experience and top degrees to restore the gold standard of science at the CDC, which was absolute disaster, focused on mandates under President Joe Biden. Together, we will do a tremendous job leading the CDC as we continue to make America healthy and great again. Kennedy said on X that he was thankful to the new selections for the CDC leadership. That's right. I look forward to working together to restore trust, accountability, and scientific integrity at the CDC. We can return it to its core mission. You didn't know Arnold was black? Yes. Yeah, Arnold. Don't you remember Arnold used to always say, "What you talk about, Willis?" He was very short. Arnold is short. Yes. Let's see what the Gateway Pundit has to say about Schwartz. President Trump announced a new CDC and other leadership of Centers for Disease Control. Trump announced new leadership for CDC and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. He nominated Erica Schwartz as the new CDC director, Sean Slavensky as CDC deputy director, and Jennifer Shrewford as CDC deputy director. Schwartz still has to be confirmed by the Senate. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, a friend of the Gateway Pundit, was serving as the acting CDC director until his role expired last month. Trump also announced that Dr. Sarah Brenner will serve as senior counselor for public health to HH Secretary RFK Jr. Schwarzenegger translates to person from Schwarzenegg, which with the components meaning black corner or black edge. Okay. All right. Wow, I was wrong. Erica graduated from Brown University for college and medical school and served as a distinguished career as a doctor of medicine in the United States military and the greatest and most powerful force in the world, and then served as my deputy surgeon general during my first term. Well, that's cool. Also, pleased to announce the appointments of these other people, these highly respected doctors. Together, they will do a tremendous job in leading the CDC as we continue to make America healthy and great again. Is Octoroon racist? I think that depends on the Octoroon. I mean, an Octoroon could be a racist if he was decided to be racist. Following the departure of Menarez, 3 senior CDC officials resigned per the Hill and PBS. Dmitry Daslalakas, Director of National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Disease, Daniel Jernigan, and for emerging and zoonotic infectious diseases, and Chief Medical Officer Deb Horry. Her name is Deb Horry. Dashlaskis is a radical leftist who rose to promises during the monkeypox outbreak, wrote in an email obtained by The Hill that I am not able to serve in this role any longer because of the ongoing weaponizing of public health. I'm sure Jim covered opening of the Strait in the beginning of the show. Yes, we did. We covered the whole opening of the Strait. We covered lots of stuff in the beginning of the show. Bella, what are you doing here, Bella? Come on, girl. I didn't drop anything on the floor for you, Bella. Yeah, this guy, this clown. Remember this clown? The monkeypox guy? Yeah. The kink gay guy who Dashlakikis? Yeah. He didn't weaponize anything. No, he was fine. Let's see. Is this going to be okay? Yes, this is going to be an actual thing. We can listen to what they have to say. We'll do this and this with a little this. Check this out.
Turn the off season on again.
Oh, man.
With the NFL app. Your home for all.
I'm not going to do no NFL app. You can go back to that. I don't like the NFL. President Trump announced he's nominating Dr. Erica Schwartz to helm the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Well, come on already. Let's go. What are you doing here? 11 seconds? Yeah. There's Trump saying, yeah, go get him.
President's point man on health policy has a lot of explaining to do over the next several days. Budget hearings are putting Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the line of fire with Democrats, outraged over his sometimes controversial methods. White House correspondent Aisha Husner is here with us to explain. Good evening, Aisha.
Good evening to you, John. You know, you could say at one point Democrats were really brawling with the HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. today in his first of 7 hearings within a week. It's a lot to ask Congress for a brand new budget. So Kennedy has been facing questions about the administration's proposed 12% cut in funding, while he spent some money on this Maha ad with artist Kid Rock. Democrats also grilled him today over a rise in measles cases in some states.
There's a global measles epidemic. We've done better in preventing it than any country in the world.
There is no country that has seen a bigger percentage increase.
That's not true. Mexico has 3 times our measles, and they have 1/8 of our population.
So Kennedy is claiming some Maha wins, like negotiating lower drug prices, also phasing out artificial dyes.
So wait a minute. So the Democrats let in all these illegal aliens and people to come across the border, and none of them were vaccinated for anything, and they brought in measles and everything. And so now we have an increase in measles, and somehow it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault and Kennedy's fault that all these illegal aliens that came across the border with frickin' measles and what else? Tuberculosis. Yeah, it's our fault. It's our fault. Yeah, color racists use white like the N-word. Yes, they do.
In foods, while Republicans really focus today on HHS rooting out healthcare fraud.
Can you walk through what your office is actually doing on the waste, fraud, and abuse to make sure that we don't
We've
see this
already
happening
shut
again?
down 500 hospices in Los Angeles, and incidentally, we haven't had one call from Congress or anybody else about complaining because clearly these were fraudulent.
So President Trump today announced his nomination for CDC Director Dr. Erica Schwartz, but RFK Jr.'s pick for Surgeon General is still stalled. Dr. Casey Means, John, is facing some bipartisan concerns. No clear path in the Senate so far. We're waiting to see what happens with that committee, if they'll take a vote. It seems like she doesn't have the votes yet.
All right, we'll keep watching it, see if she can muster those. Aisha, good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then I got this. I have a clip of RFK going at it with going at it with them. Check it out.
So we've got next 10 years.
So over $1 trillion comes out over the next 10 years. Report after report says 15 million people could lose their health insurance.
How is that a cut?
Okay, let's talk about
that. Is only a cut in Washington, D.C.
Have you met with any of the 1.4 million people who have lost their health insurance just this last year from dropping off of Obamacare? Have you sat down and talked to those folks about the fact they won't have their health insurance again?
They're almost all illegal immigrants.
Oh, well, you know what? It sounds like you haven't met with folks like Portia in my district.
I'm doing good, Cool Frog. How you doing?
Illegal immigrants
No.
collecting Medicaid.
Mr. Secretary, there are people like Portia in Buda, Texas, whose health insurance costs went from $100 a month
Portia.
to $500.
Wait, is this some girl? Is this a girl he met at the strip club? Portia and her friend Lexus and Mercedes. These are all the girls that he met at the strip club. You know, the girls at the strip club don't love you, Mister. Don't love you, buddy. I hate to break it to you. They don't love you. They're just doing that for money.
$100 a month. People like my constituent Shauna in San Marcos, Texas, her premium went from $250 to $750 a month. Now, $500 a month may not be a lot to you or to some of the billionaires that y'all are talking to, but for these moms with kids, they've lost their health insurance this last year. So have you had a conversation with, how many people have you sat down with that have said, Mr. Secretary, I lost my health insurance this last year. What are we going to do about it?
87% of the people who are on Obamacare are paying less than $96 a month. 54% of the people who are on Obamacare today are paying less than $50 a month.
Well and good for us to talk about Obamacare policy.
By
but
the
the
way,
question is,
Democrats,
it sounds like the answer.
Democrats had 3 chances to make.
We could talk all we want about the past.
Tax credits.
We could talk about.
Why didn't you do it?
We could talk about the past.
Why didn't you do it when you had the power to do it?
Mr. Secretary, just like you, I'm new here. I'm responsible for what's happening right here and now.
Yell at your colleagues.
My question, Mr. Secretary, is have you met with anybody that's lost their health insurance? And it sounds like the answer is 0. So my question was, you've had time to meet with the billionaires. I know. Why
would the Secretary of Health and Human Services have to meet with people who lost their health care? Why did they meet their health care? Oh, because they couldn't afford it anymore. So they didn't lose it. They just couldn't pay for it anymore. So why stop taxing them so much, Democrats?
Met with people
who have lost their health insurance because of the policy from this last year.
Yeah, people who come up to me.
From this last year. Oh, what about all the people who lost their health care because of Obamacare when they said if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, and you couldn't? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so stupid. We're subsidizing illegals' free health care, so of course premiums would go up. That's right. Why is it his job to meet with people? Shouldn't those people meet with their representatives like this idiot who caused it in the first place? Yes, exactly. Exactly, Doc. Exactly. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Just crazy. Let's see here. Is there anything else here I want to do? 1.5 million illegal aliens should not be getting free health care. Did Democrats tell us this never happens? Yeah, they did it. Trump should tell all the illegal aliens that he will give them citizenship if they vote Republican. Yeah, Democrats want to offer health care to undocumented immigrants. Here's what that means. Yeah. Trump falsely claims Democrats want to give free health care to illegal aliens in the government battle. See, look at this. September 11, 2019, and then September 30th, 2025. Trump's crazy. See, CNN, they're such liars. Yeah. Democrats assured us that there was 0 illegal aliens receiving taxpayer health care. Now, how are there 1.4 million receiving it? Because every single one of them MFers are nothing but liars, and they want the U.S. destroyed. That's right. That's what they want. That's what they want. We got another clip here. This is another good one. Here's another good RFK clip. All right. We've got a couple more here. There's a couple more here. Ready?
So, Secretary Kennedy, I have another question. Does enhancing health include mental health?
Of course.
Good. I'm glad you agree, because recently masked armed ICE agents surrounded some high school students near their school. A Latino student from Oregon, a U.S. citizen, recently spoke about he and his friends feel scared at school, have trouble focusing, and feel dehumanized. And President Trump, as you likely know, repealed the guidance that keeps ICE out of sensitive locations like schools and healthcare centers. Now, children can't understand the complexities of the U.S. immigration system, but they are scared and they can feel anxiety. So, Secretary Kennedy, does it enhance the health and well-being of children to allow immigration enforcement in and around schools and at child care centers? Does that help kids?
It was not enhancing our health and well-being of the American people to allow 20 million illegal aliens into this country. And President Trump, again, is left with a mess that he is having to...
Mr. Secretary,
and he is having to clean up.
In no legal or moral or ethical...
In no legal or ethical way, blah, 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 blah. Yes, they promised that the average family would save $2,500 a year under his healthcare system. How'd that go? And nobody saved shit. Nobody saved shit. Only people that are saving money are the people that they basically, give it to for free. Just start taking the businesses away from the employers that hire the illegals and watch the illegals max exits. That's what I'm saying. Yes. So it's just more emotional blackmail. It's all the Dems have. Won't someone please think of the children's? Yes. Think of the children's. Think of the children's. We got another good one here. Check it out. Okay, and ready? We got these are good ones, man.
So yes or no, do you think consuming more protein and avoiding Tylenol will prevent Black women from dying 3 times more likely during a pregnancy?
I doubt it. Tylenol doesn't kill you.
So then why aren't you putting forth serious policies that actually address the health crises in this country instead of just these unserious conspiracy theories and this wellness influencer mess that we.
Do you want me to answer that question, or are you just talking?
No, it's a question. So yes or no, do you think?
You want me to answer that question? Here's another one. Ready?
Do you agree with President Trump that we should cut child care to pay for his war in Iran?
I don't think that that's what President Trump meant, Congressman, and I appreciate you very much for actually giving me an opportunity to answer your question, which none of your colleagues have done. They've all shut me up, and they've talked about science, but science is about debate. They give a little speech that they can go and market, for fundraising, and then they don't allow me to answer the question, and I deeply appreciate the respect that you've shown.
Do you agree with?
I just think maybe he couldn't. He was too much. Okay. Here we go. Here's another good one.
Have you ever reparented or parented, I should say, a Black child?
I don't even know what that phrase means, and I doubt that
a yes
I
or
said
no
it.
answer.
I doubt that I said that phrase. No,
Absolutely.
I'm not going to answer something that I didn't say.
You absolutely said it.
Oh, I'd like to hear the recording.
So to be
Because
clear,
it doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what it means.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
And by the way,
so to be clear, you're not a doctor, you have no medical degree, and you have no formal medical training. You have never parented a Black child.
24 of the 26 HHS secretaries have not had medical
degrees. This is my
degrees.
time. And I say to the chairman, I want to reclaim my time. So you are not a doctor, have no formal medical training, and you've never parented a Black child, and yet you are suggesting that the federal government should take Black children away from their families and reparent them and send them off to some wellness farm instead of providing them with evidence-based.
You're just making stuff up.
I am absolutely not making this up.
You're just making stuff up. It's crazy. It's just crazy, the stuff that's going on. It's just crazy. Crazy, man. Oh, wait. This one. You see this one? This is the raw milk lady. You gotta watch out. She doesn't like raw milk. Look what she likes to drink.
If I were the head of HHS, I would, by God, say, don't take raw milk. It is dangerous to your health. And if you can't say that, well, maybe there's some other conclusions that can be drawn. If I were the head of
Oh, wait, breaking news. I forgot about this. Keir Starmer in the UK and the French have just announced that since the war's over and Trump won and Iran has opened the strait and everything's good, that now they're going to send people to the Strait of Hormuz to open it up.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. We just had a very productive meeting, bringing together 49 countries around a very simple message and proposition that the world needs the Strait of Hormuz fully open, because that is how we keep prices down for our people and stop the global economic damage. So we've all agreed, there was real unity in the meeting that we've just had. We want to see a return to talks and a lasting agreement, including the reopening of the strait. We welcome the announcement that was made during our meeting, but we need to make sure that that is both lasting and a workable proposal. And if anything, it reinforces the need for the work that we've been doing this afternoon, because we're very clear that the mission that we're putting together is a defensive mission and that comes after a ceasefire. So that's why we brought the international group together to indicate how we will play our part. And there are a number of elements. First, to deliver the diplomatic push for peace based on the fundamental principle that the Strait should be reopened immediately with no tolls and no restrictions. And there was absolute unity on those points across all of the states attending today. And that transcends the other differences that countries who are with us this afternoon may have, because the whole world needs to see a solution here. Second, that we need to manage the economic shock by avoiding unnecessary trade restrictions, supporting energy and food security, and supporting industry so that shipping can resume as soon as conditions permit. Thirdly, and crucially, we agreed to accelerate our military planning. I can confirm that along with...
They're going to accelerate their military planning, not actually doing anything. They're going to talk about it. They're going to talk about what they want to do. They're not going to actually do anything. That is what you call spineless, weak, pathetic. Holy shit. We're going to talk about our planning. We're going to talk about our planning. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about our military planning. Yes. We're going to talk about the planning.
France, the UK will lead a multinational mission to protect freedom of navigation as soon as conditions allow. This will be strictly peaceful and defensive as a mission to reassure commercial shipping and support mine clearance. We invite all nations with an interest in the free flow of global trade to join us. Some have already indicated their readiness to contribute. We will take this forward with a military planning conference in London next week, where we will announce more detail on the composition of the mission, and over a dozen countries have already offered to contribute assets. But look, reopening the Strait is a global necessity and a global responsibility. We need to act to get global energy and trade flowing freely again to bring down prices for working people. Our citizens need to see a return to peace and stability, and we will play our full part. Thank you, Emmanuel.
That's crazy, right? All right, let's do this. We got a little thing to talk about. A little bitty thing here to do.
Good morning, folks. Welcome, observers. It is Friday, April 17th, 2026, and today we've got several items to look at in space weather. There's going to be severe weather dropping in the central states tonight. We've got 2 top science papers to hit as well, and we're starting, as always, with the last 24 hours on our star. Massive coronal hole, instantly stealing attention. The rowdiness and crackling activity just behind it is the sunspot group we've been keeping an eye on. Several unstable filaments on the disk as well. Top 2 items to watch begin with this coronal hole. What a monster. The enhanced solar wind from it is expected to arrive at Earth tonight. Level 2 geomagnetic storms have been forecast by NOAA either tonight or early tomorrow. You can see here on the Enlil spiral, density up top, plasma speed on the bottom. We are expecting to take that leading edge this evening and then slide into the hotter, faster plasma stream tomorrow. Looking at the sunspots, top left is our only concern, and she's grown a good bit in 2 days, hasn't she? Magnetically, though, it's still largely split, but in the middle, in the northern side of the caboose, on the left, we show potential for magnetic mixing if it develops in any fashion close to what it's been doing the last 2 days. Top flare watches here today, and the large-scale field suggests more umbral cores are hiding just behind the limb, incoming as well. Top weather note comes to the central United States. This convergence line coming south off the low-pressure cell slams together air masses. These air masses have wildly varying temperatures, lines colliding from the north and the south. And that's all got to equalize in the convergence, and the same goes for the moisture sucked up out of the Gulf and slamming into drier air out of the northwest. The combination of those gradients drive atmospheric convective potential and storms. High alert tonight. Tornadoes expected. Excellent study here on the astronomical nudging of the lunar earthquake modulator. It's about frequency and patterns of rupture and the slight variability in the 18.6-year cycle of moon forcing of earthquakes is varied by different astronomical characteristics. But our top story today includes Owens, one of the living titans of solar science. The paper describes extreme proton storms and how if we take a super flare, the passengers are in trouble, astronauts are definitely dead, and that's with Earth's magnetic field being strong. The current weakening of the field was not taken into account in this study. It showed, though, that the top proton storm events in the geology were all about 100 times bigger than the biggest atmospheric radiation spike event we've ever seen in modern times. You take down Earth's magnetic field to where we're headed in a decade, and it's not safe to be standing outside during a super flare. Definitely not on an airplane. On our way down to the magnetic pole shift, it helps to be prepared. Remember, whether you are a lone...
All right, everybody. That's the daily update from Space Weatherman, Space Weather News. If you guys don't follow Mr. Space Weather News over there, go check it out. His name is Ben Davidson. He's a good guy. He's pretty much wants everyone to, be prepared for the coming polar shift. Rub that dog with some mineral oil and towel him off, Jim. Okay. Let's see here. This is the woman. This is the actual thing. So Harmy Dillon says, so weird I saw her at the Eastern Market recently buying good Italian cheese and pasta from the same vendor I use. Rules for thee, for not for me. Yep. Observer Ranch. Check it out. Yes. Check out Observer Ranch. What is she doing now? Where are you? She's walking around. She's very active right now. All right. Here, I've never seen someone get worked up over raw milk. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure that's her natural hair color.
If I were the head of HHS, I would, by God, say, don't take raw milk. It is dangerous to your health. And if you can't say that, well, maybe there's some other conclusions that can be drawn. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, she's crazy. She's a nut bar. Was she chugging raw milk? I just saw her at the Star Wars bar and cantina. Look at her. Rose DeLura. Yeah. Spotted multiple times at the Star Wars bar cantina. Look at this. Huh. She fits right in. Let's see. Let's see here. Hold on a second here. My bad. Let me do this. Come up here. Nope. No, not this one. Let's just see. Anything good today? Anything new on the horizon? James Wood says illegal alien crimes is one of the best sites on X. Immigrant crimes. Yes, it is. You guys should check it out. I go there all the time. Check this stuff out. So a man accused of sexually motivated home invasion now on immigration detainer. What do you know? Huh.
A Bowling Green man is facing burglary and sexual abuse charges after police say he forced his way into his ex-girlfriend's home.
How is it a Bowling Green man if he's an illegal alien? That means he's not a Bowling Green man, right? Doesn't that mean he's a man from somewhere else? Clearly, he's not from Bowling Green.
A Bowling Green man is facing burglary and sexual abuse charges after police say he forced his way into his ex-girlfriend's home and attempted to assault her. Officers responded Thursday afternoon to a residence on Loop Street after a woman reported her ex-boyfriend had broken into her home. The woman told police that the man, identified as Alberto Vasquez Hernandez, arrived at her home around 2 p.m., repeatedly knocked on the front door, and was told to leave. He then went to the back of the residence and forced entry by breaking the exterior lock. Once inside, police say Vasquez Hernandez went to the victim's bedroom and attempted to pull down her pants. The woman called for her son, who entered the room, prompting Vasquez Hernandez to flee the home. Police later found him at a home on Oak Grove Way, and after getting a search warrant, Vasquez Hernandez was taken into custody. Vasquez Hernandez was arrested and charged with second-degree burglary and third-degree sexual abuse. He was taken to the Warren County Regional Jail.
Wow. He's a Bowling Green man, though. He's definitely not a foreigner. Definitely not a suspected illegal alien charged in Kentucky home invasion sex attack. Just read the article. All right. A foreign male is facing serious charges after he allegedly broke into a Kentucky home and sexually abused a female resident. Yes. Look at that white bread. Yeah, white bread. Yeah, look at him. He's a white guy. I'm sure he is. Just repeal the 19th. Yeah, here we go. There's a few I'd like to repeal. Used to be Suspicious Observers. Did he change it? Yes, he changed the name from Suspicious Observers to Space Weathermen. Or Space Weatherman, I think. is the name now. He changed the name of the. Maybe he likes Bowling Green cologne. Sorry if I dropped this in the wrong chat. No, you're fine, Sanglat. You're fine. Bowling Green. There used to be a great, bunker in Bowling Green to get fireworks. They used to make these thing called greenies. That used to be, anyway, long story short. When does an illegal alien become an invader? Where is that line? I think we're past the line, Granola. I think we're past the line. Disturbing incident unfolded at 2 p.m. on Thursday in Bowling Green. So 2 p.m., broad daylight, middle of the afternoon, illegal alien breaking into a house to rape someone. Bowling Green Police Department was called to the home of a woman who said her ex-boyfriend had forced his way inside and demanded to be with her one last time. She said the man repeatedly knocked on the front door despite being told to leave before breaking the lock. The suspect allegedly ripped the woman's pants down. Her son ran into the room and the suspect fled in a black pickup truck. The police department officers located the suspect's vehicle and watched him enter an apartment, which he reportedly refused to exit. After obtaining a search warrant, they took the man into custody. He's identified as 39-year-old Alberto Vasquez Hernandez. Vasquez Hernandez reportedly stated that he fled from officers because he was trying to avoid immigration. So he's not a Bowling Green man. He was booked into the Warren County Regional Jail on charges of second-degree burglary and third-degree sexual abuse. Huh. See, yeah, look at him. Wow. Just a $10,000 bond. That's crazy. Immigration Customs Enforcement has lodged a detainer. We've reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for more information, and none is forthcoming. Here we go. Alberto Velasquez Hernandez told officers he ran from police because he feared being arrested by ICE and was trying to avoid immigration. Remember this when voting in the midterms.
The woman told police that the man identified as Alberto Vasquez Hernandez arrived at her home around 2 p.m., repeatedly knocked on the front door, and was told to leave. He then went to the back of the residence and forced entry by breaking the exterior lock. Once inside, police say Vasquez Hernandez went to the victim's bedroom and attempted to pull down her pants. The woman called for her son, who entered the room, prompting Vasquez Hernandez to flee the home. Police later found him at a home on Oak Grove Way, and after getting a search warrant, Vasquez Hernandez was taken into custody. Vasquez Hernandez was arrested and charged with second-degree burglary and third-degree sexual abuse. He was taken to the Warren County Regional Jail.
Wow. Wowzers. Deport every last one in a pine box. Sick of hearing about all these tragedies. Deport their ashes. They won't reoffend or come back. Let's see. This was 2 hours ago. Oconee County, South Carolina. Luis Armando Aguileta Montoya was arrested for criminal sexual conduct with a minor after a child gave birth in a parking lot of a hospital. He has immigrant detainer hold. So look at this person. So a child gave birth in the parking lot. It was only a sexual emergency. Now look at this one, all right? How do we know that the woman's pants weren't on fire? Sounds like he was helping her. It could be. Maybe he saved her life. But look at this. It says, Argueta Montoya Luis Armando, white, male, 43. What do you know? These white guys, we have to stop. We have a very serious epidemic in this country of white illegal aliens raping people, especially kids. It has to stop. Something has to be done. Sexual contact with a minor, 11 to 14 years old. I'm trying to be as flippant as this as possible, but it's hard to not be outraged and start swearing and throwing things.
A man is facing charges after a child gave birth in a parking lot. Oconee County deputies say they got word of this child delivering a baby in the parking lot of Oconee Memorial Hospital. After doing an investigation, deputies say they found evidence that 43-year-old Luis Armando Argueta Montejo of Seneca engaged in
Of Seneca. He's from Seneca, you see. He's not an illegal alien that just hopped over the border and raping kids. No, he's just like you, he's just an undocumented American. That's what the Democrats say. That's what the Democrats tell you. They're just undocumented Americans. Really? Huh. Really?
sexual intercourse with the victim from 2022 to 2025. Montejo is charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor. A man is facing
Dallas County, Texas, earlier this month, Mario Garcia was arrested for aggravated sexual assault of a child. Oh, what do we think? What do we think? We got a guy in Texas. What do you guys think? We have a man in Texas that's arrested. Okay, he's just Mario Garcia. I don't know. He only has 2 names. He doesn't have 4 or 5 names. And he was arrested for aggravated sexual assault of a child, and he has an immigration detainer hold. Do we think he's white? Do you think he's white? I bet you he's white. I bet you he's white. Let's see his picture. Oh, look at that. Definitely a white guy. He's got some kind of, the fuck is growing off his neck there? Some kind of sexually transmitted something growing on his neck there. And then look at right here. Garcia Mario. He's white. He's a white male. We've got to do something about this. We have to do something about all these white males aggravatedly sexually assaulting children. This has to stop. This has to stop. Oh, let's see. Is this another one? Could this be another one? We got last month, Juan Al-Qaeda was arrested for rape and incest. So rape and incest. I don't know. This is a blurry picture, so I don't know. This could be a white guy. This could be a white guy. This should just be a blurry picture, you know, Texas resident. Yeah, Texas resident. Yeah. Let's see. White male, another one. Incest, rape. Another white male, incest, rape. Hold for immigration. So this white male is over here raping kids. It's the monkeypox. You know what? It could be. Yes. It's a bad shapeshifter. Yeah. They're all white. Get over it. I cover these and I highlight them, and I know it's like beating a dead horse here. I know it is. But that's because I want everyone who ever watches the show to know, all right, that anytime people spout crime statistics and say, oh, but look at whites commit these crimes, or these people commit these crimes, or this crimes, this is what they're doing to the crime stats. This is what they're doing to the crime stats. This is on purpose. This is a purposeful distortion to make you not realize what the fuck they did to this country. Chesterton County, Virginia, on Tuesday, 3 men were arrested in what's likely related case, all now with immigration detainer holds. Nelson Mejia Elwin, assault, stab, cut, wound with malicious intent, and brandishing a machete or bladed weapon. Santos Lopez, simple assault by mob, and Basin J. Cruz. So he's a Cruz, he's a Cruz, simple assault by mob. He's a Cruz, he's a Cruz. Here's the booking information. We got the booking information. They don't even say this. This is a male, brown hair, brown shirt. He's white. He's a white guy with no complexion whatsoever. No complexion whatsoever. Elwin Mejia Nelson. Nelson Mejia Elwin. I wonder, what's the last name? Is the last name Nelson or Elwin? We got the Santos Lopez. Another white male. Look at them. Another white male. Look at them. And here we go. We got this one, at least it says he's Hispanic white. Byron J. Cruz. All these white males doing all these crimes. They're never gonna get in trouble because we all know white people get away with everything. Maybe that's why, you know what? I just realized it. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they always just let these people go, and the Democrats don't charge them, because the Democrats are really the party of racism, and they mark them as white. And so they go, well, these are white people. We just got to let them go. You think? You think that's it? I don't think that's it. Maybe that's their nouns. Maybe. It says, this guy in New York City is now reporting that Roman Toron Amatilia, who's accused of setting a fire that killed 4, is an illegal alien. Last month, Sihan Yang, Cheto Chili, Jiao Xin, Ming, Yang Yao Zhou, all died in a fire that Amatillo was said to have set and then he watched while drinking a beer. Huh. This guy set a fire and watched while drinking a beer. Wow. Wow. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I'm sorry, I was looking for something else to talk about real quick. That's an old one. I think we saw this one in Mecklenburg. Yeah, we saw this one in Mecklenburg, North Carolina. This is from the other day. So, all right, let's do this. This is a good story. This is a good story, kind of a palate cleanser for us here. Padres selling for a record $3.9 billion after vicious ownership feud. I was looking for someone to raid the show out to. I couldn't find anybody. I can't find anybody on Rumble. Very limited on Twitter or on YouTube who's going to get the raid. So, after an ugly feud within the ownership's family that transpired after Peter Seidler's death in 2023, the Padres are on the brink of being sold, and it'll be a record deal. Jose E. Feliciano, a private equity billionaire, and his wife Kwanzaa Jones and Jose E. Feliciano are nearing a deal to buy the San Diego Padres, a team worth around $3.9 billion. Jonathan Marcus says, thanks, Jim, for the news update. Hit the like and subscribe. Peace. Thank you so much, Jonathan. That would serve as an MLB record, topping Steve Cohen's purchase of the Mets for $2.4 billion in 2020. Wow. John Seidler, the Padres chairman and control person, announced in November that the ownership group was considering a potential sale. We will undertake this process with integrity and professionalism in a way that honors Peter's legacy and love for the Padres and lays the foundation for the franchise's long-term success. Sadler said in a statement at the time that during the process we prepare for the 2026 season, the Padres will continue to focus on putting every resource into winning a World Series championship and remaining fully committed to you, his team, and the San Diego community. The underlying layer to the Padres sale was the Seidler family feud, which bubbled to the surface in January when Sheil Seidler, the widow of late Padres owner, sued her two brother-in-laws, Matthew and Robert, to prevent John from taking control of the San Diego franchise. In the lawsuit filed in Texas, alleged fiduciary breaches of trust, fraud, conversion, and egregious acts of self-dealing. Sheil wanted to be named the Padres control person, and she said in a statement at the time that I am confident that it is the right one and the best way to protect the Padres and ensure the vision that Peter and I shared for the team will continue. John was named as the Padres control person in February after being approved by MLB owners. The Athletic reported last week the Shield dropped the bulk of her claims against Matthew and Robert. Feliciano co-founded Clear Lake Capital in 2006 as a net worth of $3.9 billion, and he previously worked in investment banking at Goldman Sachs and as a chief financial officer at GovWorks. Goldman Sachs. Interesting. All right. I don't see anybody live right now to go to. All right. Well, folks, we went 2 hours, 45 minutes. We did not hit the goal. Sorry to say, on a Friday night, but it is what it is. I want to thank everybody who is here. Please remind you all to hit the like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. There will be a show tomorrow night. I don't know if I'm streaming with Joe tomorrow night or not. I'm probably going to do my own show earlier in the night, maybe like a 7 or 8 o'clock show. And then if Joe wants to stream later, maybe I'll jump on with him. But that's what I think I'm going to do. I think that's the plan. Thank you all. And I want to just remind everybody, have a nice weekend. If you haven't already, please stay safe if you're in the tornado zone or anything like that. And please come on back tomorrow so Jim can tell you the news.